Hey everybody, reformulate. You are first, hopefully not last. All right, so where do we leave off here? Yeah, what's the max party size? How does summons work? So max party size playing into this, I guess the whole summons could take up a quarter of a tile. That would be kind of it'd be very tiny. Let's just say that. What if, can we delete this or remove this or whatever? How do we, maybe there's a way to do that. If there is, I don't know how there is. Yeah, I don't know how there is. Okay, well, whatever. Anyway, what I wanted to see is like, can I make this take up the whole screen so I can get an idea of how much of the screen just the battle would take up? I think having summons take up a quarter of a tile, though, would be pretty tough to see. And we could add in some extra space here. Indeed. I mean, I think I'm inclined to say there's a party size maximum of like 6, and then you can have 6 summons, something like that. Can't really scale sprite by 0.5 from base size. Well, it depends on how much you've zoomed in as a result of the screen. Like here, if I were to just copy paste this in, where did that go? Here. And I were to make this take up a quarter of the size, like it would still look fine. And then there's a level of zoom you could go to where now it wouldn't look fine anymore. But like the battles are going to take up a third of the width of the screen and something toward the bottom. So like this probably isn't even a third of the screen. This is probably like a quarter. And it's visible. I don't know. But I don't think I'm going to be doing that. Hey, Alcohol and Q. And Lamian's Moon Darkstorm. But anyway, that's one way of doing it. So summons could take up a quarter of a tile. Could just put summons. I don't know. Like there could just be more space in the battle. In fact, let's look at what that would be. So let's Command Z all of that stuff and go over to the world map and select this and copy and paste. That did not work. What happened? Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. There we go. Okay, so now we just copy this and just keep pasting twice. There. Okay. So now this would be your side of the arena and this would be the enemy side of the arena. And so now you have 12 spaces. So you could have 6 characters and 6 summons. So do I ever want 9 characters in a battle? I don't know. This is all stuff that I don't, maybe I shouldn't even be settling too much on any of this. Maybe I should just say you can target, or you can, we plan for having upwards of 12 and we figure out the combinations of what forms 12 later. So like 6 main characters and 6 summons, or 9 main characters and 3 summons or something. Q main window select, S tile map select, then select what you want, and D to draw the pattern. Oh yeah, I think I looked at this back when I was on Windows and I just never looked into it again. Yeah. Q is the main window select though, is that part? That might be when the map is open, I guess. Oh wow, weird. Oh, there we go, I see. Yeah. Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, so I think that for now, we probably say, what would 6 characters be in battle? I guess 12 abilities being used, and 9 characters would be 18. I think it'd be kind of cool to max out a battle with characters, though. But I don't know how many there are going to be in the game anyway. But yeah, it would be pretty cool to have a full battle. Okay. It'd probably be pretty cool to see the limits of the battle system like that. So where do we write down parties? I think in the instance stuff. Where is it? Here it is. All right, you choose an instance based on the level, portal level cooldown. Clicking it, ask which of your available adventurers you want to send as a party. Did I ever write about a maximum? I could have sworn I did. Yeah, dungeons have a maximum number of party members that you can send. The maximum, the highest, or the largest possible party should be 9 adventurers. And then battles will have 12 slots for each team. So that means that you have 3 dedicated summon slots. Actually, maybe it should be... I'm not sure how this should work, actually. I wonder if summon should even really be a thing or if they should be very rare. Redesigning in terms of art or UI? No, redesigning in terms of game design. Can enemies summon too? Yeah, I don't see why enemies couldn't summon, but enemies have different restrictions because there's no concept of the enemy having fun or not. So like if an enemy doesn't manage to summon something and there was a 20-second cooldown, they won't be bummed because it's an AI. But if you have a build based around summoning and then you can't do it, you'd be like, wow, what a ripoff. Yeah, this may be problematic in the future, in which case we'll need to reconsider how this works, but it gives us a starting point. Yeah, that's all I'm concerned about for right now. So in the prototype, there was only one summoner, and it was the Necromancer. Well, I guess technically any character could get it because of the prototype game, but yeah, there was just summon skeleton, and the skeleton didn't persist, which it's still questionable whether I want them to persist in the new game. But because it didn't persist, it just meant how many skeletons could you get in that battle you had ongoing. And in the new game, maybe we make them like, I don't know. I'm not even sure. I guess a summon in a sense is kind of a tank and kind of a damage dealer. Although based on what kind of summon you get, it could be a healer, for example. Yeah, alternatively, we could, oh, you know what we could do? We could have the summons could replace the main character. That's probably not a good idea, though. No, that's not a good idea. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. This is not something I think I need to design too much ahead of time. Especially because I don't know how many summoner classes we'll have. Maybe it'll be like 3. Yeah, sure. I think it's fine. Yeah, I think all of that's fine. Summons could be timed, time being upgraded through skills. Yeah, there are a lot of knobs we can turn for this. So I guess I'll just write all that down over here too. Also, there are lots of knobs to turn for summoning, e.g. capping the time that they're alive for. Yeah. All right, where does that leave us? What's the maximum party size? How should summons work? Need to think of how experience will work with group battles. Okay, yeah. So first question is, what do you get from leveling? And I guess skill points and stat points. What characters you unlock act as vendors in the town also? Say you unlock a necromancer, now you can build a dark artifact shop. I don't think so. Only because I don't know how many characters there'll be in the game. I don't know how many like sprites we'll have. I think we're gonna keep things as like you get the typical fantasy fare of items. So armors, weapons, potions, spell books, and you have dedicated shops for those things. So like the blacksmith sells weapons and the alchemist sells potions, but you yeah, there aren't, you know, whatever poison potion or something like that that you only get for your necromancer. I think the enemy type will determine what it is that drops. And I was debating on having your characters somehow help the town. Like, you know, you could go in battle with your character, or you could have your character man a shop and then they did something. But yeah, I don't know if it's necessary. So yeah, leveling up, getting skill points, stat points, I think that's fine. And then so I think the big problem with party systems is figuring out experience. So what if you have a level 50, and a level 1 in a party? Does the level 1 just get boosted? Is that even a problem if they do? So per damage percent dealt, and I know you said, oh, we need to figure out what healers do, but yeah, how do you figure out the impact you have on a battle? So what if there's a character that they have two abilities and it's like weaken enemy and heal? And they're mostly just weakening enemies, like minus 50% armor or something like that. Like this is pretty significant. It makes all your other characters do way more damage. But it's hard to say that they helped the battle if you were going to win it anyway. And so is there a problem if you're boosting your characters like this? Should you even start at level 1? Should you even have new characters start at level 1? Or should you only get experience from items somehow? Could refer to buff source. Yeah. No, I think it had to be simple too, because even if, let's say you coded all of that, how would you communicate that to players? Like, well, if you did something important enough in battle, then it counts. So there are lots of systems that could happen here. And actually, one of the systems I was thinking about is what if you literally did not have levels? What if everything came from your item shops? So there's like a potion of strength, and it gives you +1 strength. And that's it. Your character's just a little bit stronger now, forever. And so a new character is just one that hasn't had a lot of those potions yet. And I don't think the system would work exactly, but there might be something there. Maybe you only get power from items somehow, e.g. a potion of strength that your characters can consume to get permanent stat buffs. And so this is a pretty big question. Is this even a problem if they do? Like boosting in multiplayer games can be a problem because you're allowing someone to bypass all the content of the game. But in a single player game, to boost up a character means that you already got another character to that level. So like now you're just repaving that path. And I don't see that as a huge problem. You just don't earn experience but gold. Yeah, essentially that. And then your characters still need a way of getting more powerful though. And I don't know, imagine something like you have a spell shop and it sells like a skill book, and this like gives 1 skill point to a character. There are lots of problems with doing something like this. For one, how do you balance the cost of this between old and new characters? Like a character who's getting their 90th skill point should probably be more expensive than a character who's getting their 9th skill point. But something like that could be done, and it would play into the whole, hey, you're running a town, and like it makes sense that your adventurers might want some of these items too. But that could be how experience is done somehow. I don't know. I think I'm just leaning toward an experience system, and sure, you can power level your characters. I think here's the problem. problem with boosting characters is that it may feel like a burden. Sure, you have level 50 characters, but when you get a new one, you essentially have to pause real progress for a bit while you tone down the dungeon difficulty. This is an argument for starting new characters at a higher level. Or maybe there are items that let you, I don't know. That would eliminate the whole experience table and formulas. The only thing you'd figure out is the cost of skill books. Well, it wouldn't just be the cost of skill books, because it would be like, I guess you'd have different skill book levels, like skill book level 1 and skill book level 2, and these would have different costs. You'd have to do something like this, I guess. Because otherwise, yeah, you're just like, you're buying 100 skill books or something and just giving them to one character. But I don't know if I like that idea. You know, an idea that I kind of like, which I'm not certain about this either, but what if items had a specific class of buyer, either NPC, so like AI customers, or your adventurers. So like a skill book could be only to your adventurers. So they don't just get purchased out from under you. But you know, potion of extreme coolness would go to the NPC customers and it has no function. So I guess it's pretty much just, what if functional items went to your adventurers? In the end, it's actually the same anyway. It'd be a little bit different because now you could go fight in a dungeon and get experience for someone who didn't fight in that dungeon. So like your level 50 character could be doing the battles so that all of your characters are leveling up, and that's a little weird. Looked at Dungeon Village 2. I have played Dungeon Village. I don't know about Dungeon Village 2, and it is pretty similar, I would say. I think there it was more of like a SimCity style game, if I remember correctly, where the positioning of your buildings mattered. Whereas this, I wanted to be more of like a, I don't know, like a simulation game. And also, I don't remember if in Dungeon Village the items you got from battles went into your shops. Because that was another portion here. But maybe Dungeon Village 2 did a lot like that the original didn't have. I don't know. So, yeah, what if it was just a traditional experience system, and as long as you're in a battle, even if you're dead at the end, you get experience, and boosting up your characters is mitigated by you just starting your new characters at a higher level. Yeah. I mean, you might not use a character, in which case you still need to boost it at some point. I don't know. I'll just spew a bunch of other random questions here. What if all of your characters got experience from any dungeon completed? What if characters got experience by being in town? That doesn't really make any sense. I guess it wouldn't be experience at that point. I guess it wouldn't be experience, but some other pseudo currency. What if some building pumps experience points into your lowest characters? So, okay, maybe it's worth talking about more of this holistically. Like, how does this work into the battle system? So you start out and there's, you know, the forest zone, and you go to it, and you're level 1 and the forest zone has mostly level 1 characters, and you're fighting and you get to level 2 or level 3. Well, at some point it's going to be like, well, now the forest zone is no challenge for your character. I mean, it shouldn't have been to begin with because it's the starting zone. And so you unlock the next place. And maybe the way that difficulty presents itself in the game is like you can't really beat the next place yet. And the way that grinding happens is that you're getting items from the forest zone and then selling those and choosing whether to upgrade your shop or upgrading your adventurers. And I think that choice of whether to upgrade your adventurers is an interesting choice. Can prevent boosting by making a minimum level requirement. Right. So, but if you have a minimum level requirement and you have, let's say, a level 1 character somehow, then a couple things might happen. One, you might run into a situation where you cannot level this character because maybe the level 15 zone is like a party only zone or something like that. And you don't have any available party members because, I guess you'd take, because of minimum. Yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah. I guess you'd grind. Anyway, so ignore number 1. Number 2, though, was the problem is, suppose you have a level 1 character at some point and you're like, oh, okay, how do I level this character up? You just gotta grind. Hey, Samantha. It's been going well. When was the last time you were here? Let's see. So I know what to respond to. Okay, 2020. Yeah. So I've been back as of December 4th. So we're at about 4.5 months. And I've been doing game dev again lately. Hope you've had a good 4 years. What's the news for you? Okay, yeah. I want to write that down as a question that I just had there though, which is can there be some choice between upgrading your adventurers and upgrading your town? So I think that choice is important since the two systems should feed each other. And right now it's mostly only in one direction. The buildings are also the player-wide skill tree, but maybe we could make that choice more extreme. You only give your characters a buff with some building upgrade rather than also allowing it to sell better gear. Just had a game released. Oh, nice. Cool. Do you want a link to it here? It's totally fine. All right, so I guess I'm kind of in the same boat I was in originally, which is like there should be some way for you to level up your characters to get to the point where they're the level of your other characters. Yeah. I think that's true no matter what. Gigantic Rampage. Oh, nice. Yeah. I've actually heard of that. Well, I don't know too much about it. I know people were really excited about it. Yeah, well, congrats on the launch. It's definitely big. Some might say gigantic. So no matter what, I need for there to be a way for you to get new characters, new or unused characters to the level of your other ones. I don't want you to get to a point where the new ones are lagging behind by like 5 levels. There are lots of ways we can kind of paper over this, but I guess I'm trying to solve too many problems at once without being clear about what I'm solving. I mean, I do kind of like the idea of just equipping better items. What that almost implies is that all of your characters will be leveled to the level of the most recent dungeon you completed. Like if you start getting diamond swords from something and all your characters are equipping it, then they're all just that powerful now. And then maybe you get skill points by, I don't know, some other way. Okay, so yeah, I guess I guess items should probably come into play. The idea being that the latest instance you completed gives gear that can go to your characters that don't have the gear yet. How do you squeeze players? Oh, this is all just gonna be a one-time purchase kind of game. So there won't be squeezing money out of people after you bought it. That way you just keep running the latest instance for gear for your characters. I like that system. Yeah, I like that system. I like this idea. How do you get skill points? So special tasks you mentioned. I wonder. Because, like, suppose I'm a fully decked out warrior and I just recruit a cleric. How do I get them skill points? With 50 skill points invested. I just recruited. Yeah. How do I get them 50 skill points too? Why do I have 700 watching on YouTube? Is that what's really happening right now? Because if so, I have no idea. Oh yeah, what's that? The chat is literally empty. It's just got my bot message. I don't know. I don't know what that is. If you're actually watching on YouTube right now, can you say hi or something like that? Because I suspect it's not actual humans. Maybe someone just pointed a bunch of bots at my channel or something. Well, Smooth said hi and Yo said hi, but I know those two people are already in Twitch chat. Yeah, I'm guessing it's just bots or something. Alternatively, maybe there are people watching from some embedded video player, like YouTube is showing this on the home feed of a bunch of people or something like that. If so, I think if they are real people, they're probably going to be in for a very boring ride here. Well, for anyone who is new, we're doing game design. Oh, Leptus, thanks for the bits. Happy 3 months, 7 days. Isn't it 4 months and 11 days? Are we 3 months and 7 days from something special? Regardless, thank you. Yeah, so for those who are new to this, I released a prototype of this game, Idle Ascendants, a week and a half ago. And the way it worked is you moved around this world and you got into battles and they started out being turn-based. And then eventually you got to the point where you were automating them. So it just chose these actions for you. And at some point you fully automated them. So this automation skill went to 4 out of 4 points. There are a lot of things I learned from that. It's that I don't think this manual control actually helped the battles at all. Like, sure, you could choose which abilities you wanted to use, but it's not like there were a lot of choices or a lot of depth to that. So we're redesigning that game so that it will hopefully be a lot more fun and address a lot of the feedback that we got. Yeah. No clue. Okay. Well, I'll take it nonetheless. So, yeah, I wonder how you would get skill points here, and maybe they're granted by items essentially. So like your items have a power level, and when your equipped items exceed a certain amount, you gain skill points. But even if this worked, I don't think it would be clear what's happening. And yeah, I'm not sure. I think clarity is pretty important for a lot of this. Leveling up, it's usually pretty clear. Like I have an experience bar. Okay, that's how many skill points I'm going to be getting. I'm not sure, but I do like this idea of this latest instance you completed gives gear. Maybe, how about this? What if, did I already write this down? Yes, this. What if all of your characters got experience from any dungeon completed? That that would work to boost all your characters to relatively the same level. I guess the question is, what's the point of even leveling up? Like, yeah, what's the point of having proper level ups in this game? If I implement one of these systems that keeps most of your party members at the same general level, then level doesn't matter so much anymore. It just becomes number of completed instances. But I guess the the extra part with experience is that you can level up even after completing instances. The experience points, though, you could continue to level up after completing instances. Maybe no. All right, this is interesting. It's interesting for sure. Which is like you start at level 1. The only way you actually properly level up is by beating the forest. But then if something is too hard for you, how do you beat it? How you may overcome some challenges. Could have meta instances that give talent points and are unlocked based on character power breakpoints. I think a couple things here. Having to run an instance to get these talent points would probably be confusing for players if they're leveling up regularly by doing normal instances. Then the other thing is the way you're getting these instances is with portals. So these portals lead to the instances, and you'd have to build a portal, like a meta portal. Oh man. Yeah, I'm not sure. I still think this is intriguing, and I want to riff on this thing for a little bit. This idea that you are always just kind of at the same level. Actually, you know what? What if all of your characters... Okay, here's what it is. What if experience was in the game, but all of your characters share that experience? Yeah, this. Okay. Took me a while. What if this? So, for example, you have a level 50 character. No, so I guess all of your characters would just be the same experience. Yeah. So, for example, if any of your characters hits 51, then all characters are set to 51. This is kind of weird to say this because this is like an induction thing. You would be inducted into the game at... Is induced the word? Is inducted a word? It is. Yeah. Yeah. You'd be inducted into the game at whatever level all your other characters are. Any new characters would be set to the level of your highest character, and all characters level at the same time. Yeah, so essentially the account hits level 51. Although, to be clear, this is a single player game, so it's like your player, I guess, hits level 51. Okay, so what if this were the case? How does this work? This means that low-level instances would pretty quickly become obsolete, which is fine. I mean, this is how so many games have a system like this, where you start out in like the starter zone, and there's no reason to go back to the starter zone after you're through it. There's literally no reason, and like this is almost the default for RPGs. So I don't think it's a problem to get past a zone and never have a reason to go back. That's totally fine. It's going well, Magnetic Mind. I don't know if you saw the message on Discord, but I have drastically changed the game. So I'm linking this document, but just for the very top part here, this section. So the new document is private, but here's a high-level overview of the changes from the prototype. So key difference is there is now a town and item selling system. So you build shops in your town and you sell items from the dungeons that you do. There's no more world map. It's all instant stuff. Adventurers are automated from the get-go, and they can now form parties. And those are the biggest changes. So I think I like this idea. So let's think of some of the pros and cons of this system. So pros, there's no more grinding. There's no more grinding to get low-level characters higher. Just grinding to get grinding to get all characters slightly stronger. This means that you can still overcome challenges that are too hard. Cons, I don't actually know if it's a pro or a con, so I'm gonna write this under neutral, but like there's no such thing as an under-leveled character anymore. I don't know. Is that a con? Is that a pro? I guess I kind of think it's a pro because I wrote this. You don't need to grind those low-level characters anymore. Just the lack of power. But there wouldn't even be a lack of power. Although I might not have made this clear. But pretty much every new character spawns in at the level of all of your other characters. And so if you have a new character and all your other characters are level 50, you're immediately given 49 skill points on the new character. And you can allocate them how you see fit. So yeah, the question would need to be like, is there some concept of equipment? But even if there is equipment and you need to equip it, which I don't think I want to do, the new character would probably get it pretty quickly. Is the core fun of the game leveling up the characters? I think the core fun of the game would be growing your town and watching these battles play out. So I just mentioned there's this town mechanic, but I think one of the things that would make this kind of cool is, I have a picture of it somewhere. Where is it? Okay, this. I know this graphic is it's in negative color right now. Not that it's much better here. But imagine this is your game screen and the town is just always visible and is taking up the majority of it. And then these dungeons that you run are on the bottom here. And the dungeon view looks kind of like this. Except imagine that this is only taking up, the 1 slot or the 2 slot or the 3 slot. It's not the entire bottom of the screen. So you see your battle like what you used to have in the game. Except instead of a battle window, it's just the dungeon itself. Like there is no need for a battle window because each instance is taking up a dedicated portion of the screen. So at any time you're watching these battles play out and watching them make progress as you're watching your like town sell items to new customers, which are just NPCs. Eventually you need to grind for better items to progress if there are items. So the items will, so I guess if there are items, I know what you mean. There will definitely be items so that your town can sell stuff. But I think what you mean is like if there are items to equip. And I'm leaning toward not having this. And there are some considerations with this. One is that if your character's going to equip it, it means you wouldn't want to sell those items to like random NPC customers. So you would need some way of saying like, no, wait, that's for me. And you could just have the game do that. Like there are some equipable items and NPCs just don't buy them. But then, yeah, are you managing each character? Is that more fun than managing just skills and stuff? So I think let's see how it goes without equipping it. And if that takes us somewhere good, then we can just kind of stop there. Okay. So have we answered this? Go into some stash where you decide what to do. Yeah. But my concern is that, imagine a stash like in any other game, like Diablo 2, giant stash. This is just I guess something kind of like this. Okay, so if you've never played this game before, it doesn't matter. Just imagine you've got a bunch of items here. To even figure out what any of these do, you've got to hover over them to see like, okay, ring plus 3 damage, ring plus 2 dexterity, mace plus whatever. Just that aspect of like figuring out what the items do is on its own something you have to consider. And then once you have them all in your head, like, okay, this ring does that, this ring does that. Now you have to compare what they are. So like which one's better, which stats matter. And in order to determine those things, you need to know how are battles playing out, what are my weaknesses, what are my strengths. So I just feel like it would add quite a lot. And you could sort of cut through this maybe by just saying like there are only 2 stats in the game or something, but at that point, like why even have items? So I'm not inclined to want items. I think they add tons of complexity, equipable items. They add tons of complexity and they don't provide a lot of benefit in a single player game like this that's automated. Attack and armor, that's all we need. Yeah, but if that truly were the case, we would just be like, okay, fine, you just get higher attack and armor by completing an instance. And by the way, that could be done. That could totally be done. We could say like, you beat this instance, you got 40 lumber, and that lumber you can choose to upgrade your blacksmith, for example. Just end up telling you this is the better one anyway. A lot of them do. I think sometimes though there are some differences, but usually it's like in your head, you have a way of scoring certain gear to figure out what's better for your playstyle and your builds that you have. And if you could codify that, then the game could figure it out for you. And some games essentially allow you to codify it. They let you assign values to each kind of stat that you might like, and then give you that score so that you can just compare it to a number. Because either you get so many items that it's hard to compare, or you get so few that I don't know. It's a very fine balance, and it's just complexity I don't think I need. Yeah, if I see green arrow, swap. And that's how some games like Super Mario RPG, the item system did pretty much just work that way. If you see green, equip. Wow, I thought I would be able to show you a picture. Apparently not. Yeah. Equipment UI? No. I'm guessing Google is slightly better about this. Yeah. Yeah, so here's a good example. This is what I would want to show. Where's the... Just open this image. Yeah, so here you see a -10 per attack. And it's like, okay, that's pretty straightforward. And if you only see pluses and minuses for these things, you can tell. So let's lump this into the game. I think this is a good way of doing things, but we'll see. So where do I say this? Maybe like your player has experience points. Player-wide skill tree. I'll just say experience and leveling. It's your player that essentially has a level and experience bar. And all of your hired adventure. This makes no sense, by the way. Like the concept was that you're hiring these adventurers. So I don't know how they'd all be at the same experience at the same time. But maybe you could argue like they have a guild where they share their knowledge or something. I don't know. I don't really think we need to have a story reason for it. And all of your hired adventurers are always that level. Hey, Mudkip. Yeah. So there's a lot of rationale behind this. New characters don't have to go through instances that otherwise grant no real rewards other than experience. New and unused characters don't make it to like 90% of your main character's levels, and then not have an easy way to get the last 10%. What else? What else? What else? It's easy to understand. Businessman gets better at business and delegation. Business runs better for everyone. One level equals everyone's level. But you're not an adventurer. That's the thing. So you can't teach these skills. I guess you delegate to some like master adventurer or something. Okay. I like this idea of this thing I came up with that probably no one's going to be on board with. I told my wife about this and she's like, I don't like that idea. But what if you were an adventurer and you died and now you're a skeleton running this shop and we call it Skeleseller? I still think that's a cutesy idea. How to even communicate this to people? Literally just player level. Um, it's a good question. I mean, I think you could say adventurer level, and it's just you sort of come to understand that all your adventurers share the same level. You need a soul to pass through the portal. Are you making an Undertale reference? No, okay. Skeleton. Oh man, that's so good. I'm writing that down. Skeleton. I'll give you credit here. There. We could go pretty nuts with the skeleton puns. I already like Skeleton the skeleton. But this is honestly, this is just theming inside the game, but it would change the name of the game. And I have to wonder which name would do better if you just saw it on Steam. Skeleseller versus Loot Tycoon. Which do you think would do better based on name alone? You gotta be able to do it. We need like a trumpet or a trombone or something too. Town system added? Yeah, town system added. Skeleseller, a loot tycoon. Oh man. Oh man. We combine them. Optional subtitle. A loot tycoon. Or Skeleseller. Loot magnet. I've got to talk to somebody about this at some point and see, am I the only one who actually likes this idea? But yeah, that's not what we're trying to figure out right now. Hey Ryan, is a core gameplay mechanic the town building or the team building and skill trees? Which one is more complex? I don't know if either one's going to be super complex, but I think they complement each other well. And I think that you will have fun watching battles and you'll have fun watching items get sold and managing whatever there is to manage. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I know that in a lot of games there's a primary system and then things in support of that system, but I think they should support each other pretty well. Yeah, there's 681 people on YouTube. I don't know if that's real because the only person whose name I don't recognize in this chat. No, wait. I've seen you here too, Travis. Yeah. So no one is chatting to make this seem like there are actually 700 people watching. I don't know what's going on there. I think either YouTube is showing this to people on their TVs or something and they don't even know how to chat right now. And they're like, Adam, if I knew how to talk to you, I would tell you I'm a human. You like the skeleton idea? I've got a bone to pick with you adventurers. We just keep throwing in every single skeleton pun we could think of. I bet we could come up with 206 of them. Is there like a live stream page? I'm not sure. I don't know. Yeah. So you, the player character, never actually fight. It's just automated NPCs. Yep, exactly. That's it. Yeah. Do I have a command? Yeah, all the commands that work on Twitch also work on YouTube. So the new design document is just in the today command. But all of the commands you can also access through the website, which is what this is probably going to link to anyway. Yeah, because you can only have 200 characters on YouTube. So it's linked here, and I'll cut out one step for you. I'll put it into the chat, but yeah, there we go. Hey, Russian spy. How's it going? It's going well. Yeah. I am having a good time designing this, and we've answered some pretty good questions, and I think I've written down everything I wanted to about this. Where we left off was with the rationale about your underleveled characters and grinding, or was it new/unused, whatever. Yeah, this. I guess a con is that you don't ever level up a new character, which might feel bad. You don't get the joy of leveling a new character. This also may hinder the learnability of the new character, but not much. When I start using a split keyboard, I've got all that information through this command here. Is this doc public? The new one is not. No, unfortunately. And that's what this is linking to. This private document that you wouldn't be able to see, but that's showing up as a preview for me. Stuck picking points and skills that they level together? Yeah, you are. Yeah. Okay, so what's the next question? Need to think of how experience will work. Maybe it's all item based. If your characters buy items, it should probably just be that they get them automatically somehow at the end of the instance. Yeah. Okay. Is it worth mocking up or storyboarding? So this for sure, I need to mock something up. I'll just write this at the end though. And then I wrote this down, could have a world map like Super Mario World that isn't exactly functional. So Super Mario World world map. For those who haven't seen this, it's pretty much like any other Mario game. In fact, I could show this one. This is just a way of you showing your progress on the map. It is somewhat functional in that you can choose where you're going in the map. But like one is not a world on its own. You enter now a new level and you see the scrolling view you're used to with Mario. So what if there was something sort of like this where it's like you see that the forest is there and the cave is there and Magma Mountain is off over here and you have some general idea of like how far through the game you are. And even if that's a thing, it's a thing that can be added later. So I think it's just a question to ask like way down the line. Have you considered how the passage of time is going to work? What do you mean, Mudkip? If I get a new character, they arrive at level 20 and I have to assign 20 points. So while that is true, remember that there are only 3 abilities per character. And I guess I'll write it like this way. Unlimited respecializations. And only maybe like 2 to 4 mods per ability. So you essentially are going to have somewhere like 6 to 12 choices. And at some level, they're not even choices anymore since you have enough points to max them out, maybe. I'm not sure. You can reset your level once you reach 100, keeping everything. That, what you're describing, is what some people say is like a new game plus or a prestige mechanic. And I don't see that as being needed in this game. Well, a new game plus could be done in a new game plus is usually like you're restarting everything and there's some change. How long would adventures take to come back? Would it be real time, like 5 minutes, or passed in some in-game system like 7 days? It'd be however long the battles take. So imagine the system that we currently have in the game. Like, imagine that this character, instead of being on a world map, is inside of an instance. So they look like imagine that they're in this battle. So now imagine that playing out, and like you're seeing these things fill up. It just used Fire Blast. Fire Blast, use its different abilities, and there, battle done. Like however long that took, I don't know, 10 seconds or something. Like that could be as fast as how these battles play out up here. And then you'll see this character, imagine that it was right here, it would now advance to the next room, and now it would be in this battle against the boss. And again, you'd see your abilities fill up and get used, and then the boss is dead, and it would advance to the rewards room where you'd see a bunch of treasure, and then this would go back to your town, and now your sellers would have more items to sell. So that's what I'm envisioning, is that like these things are playing out and that they're at the bottom of a screen where you have kind of several of those instances. So I think that should answer the question, but let me know if you have more questions about that. Going with the idea of making things more simple, maybe you have an auto equip or select feature that you can turn on to have your characters have abilities, items, stats auto selected. You could micromanage if you choose. Yeah, I think that's an interesting enough idea. I think it could be like just upgrade stuff based on my selected skills. We can write that down as an idea. I think we just need to have an ideas section somewhere that we just file for later. Yeah, I'll just paste this in. Okay, and we'll just say like a world map just to give a sense of completion progress. I don't think this is necessary, since you could get the same general idea with just a number of portal slots on the ground. See how close to the end ones you are. Having time pass independently of real world time would work better, but I could see how that would conflict with the battle system. Yeah. Yeah, and also, look, I think that's one of the core aspects of the fun of this game is seeing your characters do more as they're leveling up and being able to influence that. And so if we hid that from you, or if that were somehow just like a super elongated amount of time, I think it would be less fun. How to make the outline for the mage? If you look up Godot shaders, you'll find an entire website devoted to them. And I just searched for outline. I'm not sure if this is a site I used, actually. I also did not type outline. There. I think it was one of these. I don't know. But I think this was the right site. Anyway, I found it through this. I've got it saved in the code somewhere. Idle Ascendants. What's it called? Outline? There it is. Yeah, and in here I had a link. Whoops. That was not supposed to be that. That was supposed to be S. Yeah, this one. That's what it is. Hey, Grace. It's going well. Where did we leave off now? Yeah, here. Okay. How's experience sharing work? We answered that. What happens if just one of your characters dies in a group, but you still win the instance? I think that character just comes back to life. I mean, death cannot be permanent in a game like this. And even having a death penalty is probably really rough for tanking classes that are supposed to take damage. Oh, no, that's fine, Mudkip. Also, that's the nature of streaming this stuff, right? Like, there's no way everyone can be on the same page. So, yeah, I'll try to answer questions as they come up. Yeah, I think they just come back to life. Also, that's the easiest thing to do. And if that's a problem, then we just address it later. I do think there's going to be a penalty for if you lose an instance, because I think portals should have cooldowns. And that way it's like, okay, you can go to the forest, but maybe only like once per 3 minutes or something like that. And maybe later zones, you know, there's some magma mountain or whatever, and maybe that's like once per 10 minutes. So it's like you can go there, maybe it takes like 2 minutes to beat it, and then you can't go again for 8 more minutes. I don't know, whatever. We might need this, we might not, but it's a system that's really easy to add. And that's a very obvious like death penalty, which is, oh, well, if you did this once in your 10 minutes and then lost, well, then now you have to wait and you didn't get any rewards for it. You know, the characters automatically leveling really does make it easier to balance too. I should write that in the rationale for that. Easy to understand. It's easy to balance. Well, easier to balance. It's never easy to balance any of this stuff. All right, so yeah, death. We got to talk about that. Where are you, adventurers? Dead adventurers come back to life at the end of an instance, whether you won or lost the instance. What does it mean if they're dead in the middle of an instance? Because like, if there's a character who can revive, then it would probably be like only one or maybe two characters that could revive. I don't know. Maybe we do what Super Mario RPG does, which is at the end of every battle, you're resurrected with 1 life. I like that idea. I like that idea. Yeah. Dead adventurers come back to life at the end of any given battle with 1 HP. At the end of an instance, all adventurers are restored to full health. Okay. All right, what's next? Just keep running through these questions. Should your characters buy items from you? Maybe they just take them. If they did this, I think you'd expect that the items benefit your characters. So let's analyze this. If they bought items, then I think they need to buy from a special pool of items that NPCs can't take from you, or that would really suck. Either way, what do the items do? And they could just grant power upgrades. then why do we need items in the game? And do we balance around you having them? Yeah, so I'd rather it be that you get some building material or something that makes it clear that you're giving these benefits. Would they be giving you 100% of their earnings? In that case, it makes sense to give them equipment for free. They're giving you all the items. What's in it for them? Money, I guess. I guess it's assumed that you're paying them. Yeah, maybe after every instance, your own characters walk through your town and just take items for free, but it doesn't actually do anything. It's just like a storyline reason for why they would be battling for you in the first place. But I guess if they're getting like hundreds of items from a dungeon, that why would they even send them to your shop? Why wouldn't they just take them? And why would they ever work for you beyond like one dungeon if they're getting hundreds of items? Maybe they don't know how to sell things. But yeah, as far as this question goes, I, I just don't think there's much of a reason to have your own characters take items. Or buy items. Maybe there are certain items that you want and others that they want. Okay, that's kind of interesting. What if there are items that they want, not that they do anything? Like maybe your warrior wants I don't know, tree roots. I don't know why that came to mind. Wants massage oil. I'll just say tree roots or whatever. And you find them occasionally to make your warrior happy. Did you go through the Discord thing? You mentioned having it open. Wondered what the stuff was already answered. I think the only thing I didn't fully address. Can I copy paste it onto the screen? Are you okay with that? Nothing's private in it, so I think it should be fine. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna copy paste everything and just address it here. So different music. This is something where it's like we'll think about this later. I assume but we'll just need to think about this later, and I think that should be fine for now. Maybe you don't need the town screen to be maximized. Also an option to show things unavailable to create them. Yeah, so this is another like thing for later, I think. I agree. I don't think we need the town to be maximized. And we probably need to consider what happens when you don't have enough characters for the dungeons. So maybe it's maximized and then like an instance slides up from the bottom once you have one. But I'm not sure. But that'll be a thing for later too. But I'm going to click the portal. So what I was thinking of for this is that it's just a dialogue pops up with a choose your party or form your party. And the UI for this, I was kind of picturing it like available characters, and it shows their actual sprites, mage, warrior, necromancer, and then it says like busy characters already in dungeon, and it shows whatever your cleric or something like that. And then it shows like the party that you're forming. And so you're like, oh, I'll take my mage in the party. And you just drag the mage down here, or you just click it and it puts them into the party. And it's like, cool, good to go. And you can hit the start button. So something like that. That's what I was thinking. So you wouldn't need to move characters around in the overworld, although that's probably what I said originally. And it wasn't until I read your message that I thought, no, this is a better system. So thank you. Big Mom in the second screenshot. Is that how you plan to make the bosses look? Yeah, so I think bosses big. And bosses will probably just have like set stats. So maybe you fight like a bat level 1 and it's got 50 HP. And when you get to the boss, it's just something like whatever, goblin, and it's got 250 HP. So we don't necessarily have multipliers. We just like made the boss have those stats. And then any concrete plans on damage types. This is from the original Idle Ascendants document. So in that document, we talked about like fire, I think lightning, frost, earth, physical, and maybe there's something else. But I think it was these 5. But I don't know if this is even important. I think it probably is a little bit. It's sort of hard to say because like the prototype didn't have it, and I don't know if it really needed it. Because yeah. Anyway, we'll need to talk about that some more. But those are my quick answers. I'm be more inclined to go to more dangerous dungeons to have a lot of, say, oranges, and disciplined to go to dungeons that don't have anything they want. Well, so the way we could do this is we could have like a happiness meter for each character, and you have to manage that by getting them items. But I don't like this because the way you get them items is just by playing the game, essentially. Like, unless you're going out of your way to go get items from another dungeon. So I'll write this down under ideas, but I kind of just don't think we should do anything about this for now. What was for lunch? Indian food. Maybe your characters have a happiness meter or some equivalent where they want particular items, and that steers you to certain instances. Not sold on any of this. Want to make enemies have like 50% physical resistance, forcing a different strategy. Yeah, so what I was originally thinking about is with solo adventurers, if you come across like a fire immune enemy, could like stop you in your tracks, for example. But with a party of adventurers, there's probably no party you could make that can't eventually kill everything they're up against. And so then resistances become a little bit less compelling. And I could still see this mattering a bit, but like imagine if you have a fire immune enemy or an entire fire immune enemy party. Like the whole thing cannot be affected by fire damage. Like who does this hurt? Well, in the prototype, it would have been like, well, the mage can't use one of its abilities. And it's like, okay, well, what about the other 5 abilities you have over your party? And yeah, they'd probably just still kill the party. So it's like, what do immunities or resistances do at that point? Najanax, thanks for subbing. Welcome back. Same where they'd be hesitant to go to dungeons that don't offer them anything. Just like they wouldn't want to go to a level 50 dungeon at level 1. Yeah, but how does that like hesitation play out? Is it, okay, they do less damage or they have a chance to miss their turn or something like that? And then how do you get them to go to dungeons that they want? So I don't think it's worth the complexity right now. I think it makes sense that your characters probably want some items from your shop, but I just don't know what that looks like. And I sort of like the idea of it just being a tax. Like your adventurers just come into the village and they're like, I want 3 of that, 2 of that, and 1 of those things. And they just take them and that's it. They're out of your inventory now. But that would probably feel bad a little bit. Although actually that would be kind of interesting that the ones who like it would make you want to use the minimum number of adventurers in a party just to get the dungeon done. But yeah, I still need to think about that. Villagers can make requests that would require you to go to specific instances. Why do this? What's the reward? Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I should probably take a break. Yeah. So I'm gonna go take a quick break and you can all play Jump Royale. For anyone who is watching on YouTube, although I don't think anyone's actually in chat, but you can't play through YouTube chat, you have to play through Twitch chat. So I'll be back in a bit and we'll just write where I left off is decided against your party members wanting items unless maybe it's just a tax, which would encourage you to bring the fewest possible party members to each instance. All right, I'll be right back. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hey everybody, close the game. Close the game. What did that get that as? Wait, tail this. Oh, right. It won't tell me. Okay, well, whatever. So, yeah, party members wanting something. I guess this is another consideration, which is why wouldn't you just stuff as many players into an instance as you can? And I mean, there's a pretty big difference between 2 adventurers and 3, but there isn't as big of a difference between 8 and 9. So I don't think this matters. Yeah, I don't think this matters. Give me a sec. Attacks. I'd like for there to be some way for your characters to want items, I guess. Instant difficulty, easy, hard, insane. Monsters get extra base stat multiplier and you get better rewards. Yeah, I think where the difficulty comes in there is like how do you balance that exactly? So for example, suppose you have the forest and it's supposed to be like your level 1 zone, and you have the cave and it's supposed to be like your level 5 zone, and you have, I don't know, the mountains and it's supposed to be your level 10 zone. Like, is the hard forest harder than the regular mountains? You know, like where is that difficulty cutoff? And why not just make something here that you essentially, you don't call it the hard forest, but why not just like make another portal? And I guess it's a way of letting you sort of control the difficulty a bit, but I think that I think the way this game is really going to work is if you think about it like, and maybe not speedrunners, but maybe we'll say like expert gamers might get through this game in let's say they get through it in 5 hours, and like average gamers maybe take, I don't know, 6 hours, and like total noobs take like 8 hours or something like that. So I don't think there's going to be some difference of, you know, completing it in 10 hours versus 50 hours, for example. I think it's going to be something more like this. Locking down to monster stats, I guess it'd be more like tweaking knobs. Right. I get that. It's just like you still need to say how much of a stat tweak you're doing. So you have regular, which is obviously no change. Then you have something like hard, which is like a change, but how much? And then yeah, something like insane, which is again a change, but how much? And so if you're like, well, it's plus like 300%, that might be such that it pushed this from level 1 into some like way harder level. So yeah, I'm not totally sure. I had done something, I did something like this at the end of the levels of this game. Hopefully this works and I can just show this. Maybe like +1 and +2. Yeah, but then I guess the question is like, why even have those choices? Like, you would always pick the one you could beat that's the highest. Am I going for extreme replayability, or will this just be a short game? It'll probably be a short-ish game. I'm thinking like 5 to 15 hours. So I don't think this game will have a lot of replayability. Okay, I'm not going to be able to show this because I can't win the battles to be able to. Anyway, at the end of this, it gave you a choice of like, what difficulty do you want to fight? Doesn't really matter. Yeah, so the general, the idea at least is that, yeah, it's like 5 to 15 hours of gameplay. When you're done, you're probably just done for good. But maybe there are challenge runs. And maybe those could do something different, like beat the game with only warriors. I don't know. But something along those lines where I just don't think the replayability would be there. Promoting the understanding of each ability as opposed to just throwing stats on random characters. Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't think there's the depth of decision making for you to make those choices. Yeah. Yeah, like I want this to be a game where you feel like you know you're mostly relaxing, you're watching stuff happen, and you're making some interesting choices, and it's like you find that fun in the game's framework. And I think about this like if you were to describe Minecraft to people, or at least like the building part of Minecraft, you'd probably say it's something like digital Lego blocks, right? Um, but if you were to just say, "Oh yeah, you're placing like block after block after block after block," that's really how Minecraft works. And if you're playing in without mods or anything, then you're going and harvesting those blocks yourself. So like to place wood meant you cut down a bunch of trees and then you crafted them into wood planks and then you put those down and then you had to make a door. And like to most people, you just be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like let's just give them a preset house or a preset building or a preset, Minas Tirith or something like that. But that's not the fun of Minecraft. Some people do just like the monotonous, just dig and build and just repeat forever. And so I think there's going to be a sort of Zen state you get into when you're playing this game where you're just like, yeah, I'm not making the hardest choices and I'm watching stuff happen and it's just fun to watch. And yet I know this isn't going to last forever. It's going to be a finite game. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for this. Really like the concept of being some kind of store owner that hires out mercenaries. Yeah, yeah. And other games have certainly explored this, or at least concepts like this. I think Dungeon Village is the one that I was thinking of the most. It's this Kairosoft mobile game. And I played this a very long time ago. Yeah, 2012 is probably when I played it. And so you had this town, and it was a very like Sim City style town. So if you put this building next to some flowers, you get a bonus. And then putting this building next to this building gives you a bonus. And so it's like, how are you laying out your town? And then you had these adventurers, and they just went out and did battle on their own. And they earned you gold. And the battles didn't really matter at all. And the way that they worked, it was just like, yeah, you just saw this. It was like an attack animation and a damage number, and that was about it. And I don't think you controlled them or anything. And that was it. This is the entirety of the size of the town that you had. It didn't get any bigger than that as far as I know. And so you played through it, you got some different characters, I think you equipped them or something. So there's that game that I'm thinking of, and then there's a game called Moonlighter. Moonlighter did very, very well on Steam, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. It says very positive across about 14,000 reviews. So this game, you ran a shop in town, but you actually like ran the shop. So can I zoom in on this? Yeah. So you set item prices of these items in town, and then customers would come in and be like, "Do I want to buy this?" And maybe they'd give you some feedback of like, "No, this price is too high, so I don't want to buy this." And you had to like restock the items, I think, or something. I don't remember. And you upgraded your shop. But the kicker for this is that you were moonlighting as a shopkeep. You then went down into the dungeon with whatever upgrades you got and went and fought stuff. So like this was a manually controlled game and like it had manual selling as well. Ubi, happy to be back. Happy to have you back. Thank you. Visiting some cross between Moonlight. So I haven't played Darkest Dungeon. But yeah, so I think the key difference between like with Moonlighter, there was a lot of manual control. With that game I showed before that, Dungeon Village, I think it was similar, but it was like a mobile game and it's just different enough, I feel. So I think this will be cool because you're kind of controlling the adventurers a little bit through their skills and you're controlling the town from like what you want to buy and how you want to upgrade it. And yeah, we just need to kind of see how this goes. And I think we have a pretty good foundation at this point, such that if I release, let's say, checkpoint number 2 or checkpoint number 3, and people are like, this isn't really all that fun, I don't think we're going to need to redesign it from scratch. I think we're going to need to tweak some things, and I think we're going to need to maybe consider like, okay, now we do need adventure or happiness, or we do need equipping items or something. But it won't be some like, ooh, this game just doesn't work. I don't think that's going to happen. So I feel like this is pretty promising. So let's keep going through these. So should your characters just buy items from you? I think this is something you'd expect. Bit of crossover between it and this game. Yeah, I think I've heard good things about it. I should probably just write down at least to like look into what kind of game it is because I don't know too much about that. Look into Darkest Dungeon. just to see what kind of game it is. All right, where'd this thing go? Yeah. Yeah, so this is something that thematically I think should be a thing. Like, I still don't have an answer to the question, why are your characters, why are these adventurers fighting for you? I feel like you should pay them or something. Maybe you see this at the end of each dungeon. Like, items and gold drop, but you don't get to keep any of the gold. That doesn't make any sense, though. Why would they even need you? Yeah, I don't know. Otherwise, what are they getting out of this? You say they get a discount, but remember, they're the ones finding the items. So they could technically just keep all the items and have a 100% discount on everything forever. So, like, there's got to be a different reason. It's got to be something like, oh, they didn't know how to sell items and turn it into money. Or, I don't know, they didn't have the coordination to form parties on their own. Anyway, I'm not very concerned about that. I don't necessarily mind if there isn't an obvious story reason for it, but I think it's a little more cohesive that way. Equip them with everything and they sort of owe you a loan. That can be done. I like this idea of the start of the game thing that I had written here. Where is it? I know I wrote it. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, and I don't know if you were here for when I read this the first time, but yeah, you start with enough money to build your first building. Then some NPCs start showing up. They come through this portal and they start buying items. They buy most of your items. Your first adventurer comes through the portal and says, hey, I see you're running low. You want an adventurer to help you with that? And you hire them and they get you to build a portal and they go fight for you. So I like that idea. But yeah, I think there needs to be something here. And in fact, maybe the way it works is this is how it starts. And after a few dungeons, you're like, hey, so why did you offer to help me? What are you getting out of this? And then you figure something out about them. I don't know. They're really evil and they're using you, or they are actually stealing all the gold. And I don't know, something. Somehow influence how frequently you get new customers. Manage to sell an item or everything from customers list again, how frequently you get new ones. I was thinking that the town itself could sort of be that influence. Like you start building fancy things around the town. So imagine if this were your town over here, that the way you could get more adventurers coming in is if you were like, oh, let me spruce up my town. I'm going to add in a fountain. And so you put a fountain in town. And why is this not working? What am I doing wrong here? Oh, did I paint all this in the foreground? Is that why? Yeah, I painted it all in the foreground. Anyway, you add in a fountain and then like, okay, now more characters come in. You add in some whatever flowers or something like that. I don't even think we have some of these graphics. Yeah, you put it in an apple tree. And it's like, oh, cool, now more customers join. And that's like a visual representation of your town growing. Yeah, the fanciness factor. And part of it's because I don't know exactly how selling's going to work. I think it's also going to be kind of mostly automated. So I'll have to see. You buy what you want from them. Oh, that's very interesting. That's very interesting. I wonder, like, the way I was picturing it is that you would just get all of their items that they found. And so if you're going to pick, then it implies that either you can only afford so many or that some items aren't worth purchasing. How about this? I'll write it down as an idea because I think at the start, at least, we should see what it's like when they just give you all of the items. I'm going to just delete these ideas. I don't think this is needed. Actually, this could just be written as you see the portal slots. I think we can keep that one. You're putting up contracts with fixed gold values that they then choose. They get paid and you get all the loot. Oh, like maybe sending someone into the portal is actually costing you money. Oh, that's probably a much better way of doing this. Okay, I think that's pretty convincing. So then yeah. Yeah, you pay the portal fees. I think that makes sense. So then you're constructing portals cost money to make and then cost money to enter. But I guess it's that you're hiring the parties will cost money, and maybe each character that you're hiring costs more money. It can't be by level though, because your level is always going to be the highest. Portal, yeah, portal fees per person. That part makes sense. And I guess it'd be based on the difficulty of the dungeon, and maybe it's even relative to the party member. So you can go grind old areas. It's like, yeah, this is a walk in the park. Sure, I'll go kill some forest creatures for you. Just give me $5. Okay, well, let's write that down. And yeah, Mudkip, I think that's a really good idea. Uh, for hiring new adventurers, and then, well, oh, that's why I wrote it was for hiring new adventurers, but I guess it's not only hiring them. I'm not sure how that would work then, because you're gonna pay them to go into each instance. Okay, hang on. Let's write down a few things then. We have points again. When did this happen? A couple months ago, I think. And there's now a proper leaderboard, and you only get them when I grant them, as opposed to just sitting around in chat. All right, so we got to add this as a question, which is, how do you get new adventurers? Do they cost money to hire, and then also every time you want them to go into a portal? And how do you pick which classes you get? Huh. Indeed. I kind of like the idea of you just sort of getting them randomly. We're setting bounties instead. Bounty board. Okay. Yeah, I guess we're setting bounties on the portals. I'm sure they're swimming in points. Well, I'm. It's only when I get like stuck. I try to mostly give points for people who are helping with like technical stuff. Like I'm stuck on a bug or something. Although, I mean, it's just like the old way. I used to give out points for a bunch of things. Just you also earn them from just sitting around. Okay, so where's the start of the game thing? This, yeah. So I see you're running on where's. I can help fix that. And I'll even do it for free this time. Just this once. Okay, so what happens if you get stuck? I guess maybe the forest doesn't ever cost you money to go into, basically. Yeah, that's the, yeah. All right, I don't know. I'm all over the place. Let's go write it down in instances. Okay, so it costs money to convince a party to go through a portal. The amount of money is based on the number of people and their level difference with the portal. So, for example, the forest may, the first zone may always cost 0 so that you can earn some money. But then the next zone starts at 500 per person and slowly lowers to like 100 per person as you level up. Yeah. Cost needs to lower so that you don't get stuck with no way to earn money. Does the instance close when you lose a battle? I don't think so. I think especially now with the cost to enter an instance that it's just you lose your money and you have to go back in and it costs you money when you go back in. So maybe you want to tackle a lower level instance. Maybe the intro sequence is your character of entering into a portal, getting gravely injured, but returning with the money to hire someone else. Again, I'd really like to be your character goes into an instance, dies, comes back as a skeleton, and then says, okay, couldn't hack it as an adventurer, gonna be a shopkeep. But I still need to figure out if I want to go with that theming. So at first, it's gonna be probably what you see here for starting the game. Yeah. But the forest is always going to be free, so I guess we just leave it at what I had originally. Okay, cool. So let's move on to the next things here. So your characters buy items from you. Like I said, I think they're just in it for the money. Yeah, I think they're just in it for the money. Can there be some choice between upgrading your adventurers and upgrading the town? I think that choice is important. So I mentioned that you can upgrade, like somewhere here I wrote a blacksmith. Yeah, upgrading could be linear or selective. I don't have a preference. Well, now I do have a preference. Upgrading is selective. That way you have to pick instead of linear. That way you have to pick between helping the town make money or helping your adventurers be stronger. There. Aim of the game is to regain your humanity. You don't just want to embrace your life as a skeleton. You want to go look at the bone tea board. I kind of like the idea that you were just stuck as a skeleton, actually. Like you had a dream and you died, and now your dream is different. Last one here. Thanks for resubbing. Subscribe for 32 months. Quite the record you've got. Appreciate every single one of those months. Have the skeleton covered in clothes, mask over face, so we / your wife get down with the skeleton and all the puns are clues. I didn't play enough of Magica to know that, but it's pretty funny. Aren't we all skeletons on the inside? Aren't we all the Magica secret? Yeah, I'll just write this down as the rationale for this. Where is it? Yeah, here. Rationale is that I want both systems to feed each other. The battle system obviously feeds the item system, feeds the shop by being the source of items. But the shops need some chance of feeding the battle system. Some way of feeding the battle system so that you as a player have to choose. Hey, Tensor. Just saw your stream and YouTube recommendations. Welcome. Yeah, I am redesigning a game that we just launched as a prototype a week and a half ago. The prototype was pretty simple. It's called Idle Ascendants. You got a character, you moved around in this world, you chose some of these actions here. So I could choose Fire Blast, for example. And as you level up, you put points into this automation skill to the point where you stop having to pick what you're doing in battle. And so people played this and, you'd get to these higher level zones and you're not picking what you're doing in battle anymore. So they're just automatically fighting. And then you'd just be choosing, like, how do you level up your character? And we got a lot of feedback from that. And so we're redesigning the game based on that feedback. And that's what we are doing here. So I'm basically just looking through all these questions and being like, yeah, what's the answer to this? So let's go tackle this one now. So how do you get new adventurers? Originally, I was thinking you hire them. They cost money. But if you're hiring them, then you wouldn't also pay them for every portal they go through. Maybe you're paying them to move to your town. Oh, maybe, okay. Oh, here's a much better way of doing this. Maybe you're building a house for them and they won't move without a house. Yeah. That way it feels less like you're paying them twice. Do I make games in Unity or other engine? I'm using Godot for this. So the prototype was in Godot, but it was using GD script, and I'll be using C# for the final game. They're getting you items for rent. They're getting you items for you paying them. They just want money. Money and a place to sleep. Yeah, I like this idea. So you can also build houses, and the houses are going to be important. So your town, buildings which sell stuff. Buildings can be moved but not destroyed. Types of buildings. So house needs to be a building. House. This is what attracts a new adventurer. Rationale. I want there to be a gold cost to, all right, monetary, I guess, cost. Monetary. I haven't actually said what the money is. Maybe it is gold. I want there to be a monetary cost for getting new adventurers, but having to directly pay the adventurer both for hiring and for entering portals seems like you're paying twice. But building a house just to attract the adventurer doesn't feel like you're paying twice. Housing adventurers at their own cost, and then we pay them too? Yes. Because you got to spend money to make money. Unity's easier. Oh yeah, and if it works, it works. I don't think there's a reason to switch in that case. Like, I don't think Godot does something that Unity doesn't. I think it's just a different philosophy. Well, I guess technically Godot's open source, so if you wanted to modify some part of the engine, you could. But otherwise, I don't think there's any major difference. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. So you build a house. Now what? But now, how do you pick which class you get? So option number one could be just you get a list of all of the ones you don't have and pick one. Option number two, you get a short list, maybe 3 options of ones that you don't have, and pick one. Option number 3, it's totally random who moves in. Option number 4, it's in a set predetermined order. The type of house you build dictates it. So that would essentially be option number 1, but themed as building a certain kind of house. So what would it mean to have a list of all of them and then just pick? Because I like the theming, Tyrion. I just don't know if do I like the idea of you getting whatever you want right off the bat? So if all of the characters have the same general power level, then this isn't a huge problem. The only thing I don't like is that is that it doesn't allow for discovery of the classes. So for example, if the first choice you get is like warrior, mage, archer, or something like that, you'd be like, okay, that's cool. I figured those might be in the game. And then you get something like warlock, archer, berserker, and you're like, oh, okay, there's some interesting classes here. And then you get, necromancer, whatever, just keep picturing other classes here. So I kind of like that idea. YouTube API some time ago. Looks like you made some videos about it. I'd like to ask you some question. Yeah, sure, totally. Ask away. I only made one video, by the way, on the YouTube API. Oh, you mean, never mind. The live streams? Yeah, I did several live streams on it, but I only made one like pre-recorded video on it. New house blueprints can be found in different dungeon zones. Yeah, so that's like, I think the way Tyrion said would be pretty interesting. You get like, yeah, a wizard tower for the mage, an armory or something like that for the knight. I don't know, so on and so forth. This does require more sprites for all of this stuff. So that is a consideration that probably at first I would just go with houses. But then if you're going to get these things, then yes, maybe you're finding these blueprints in different dungeons. Also, that's an interesting idea just for the future for anything you might be building. Also, I suppose if I'm writing down your ideas in here, I should probably be giving you points. And same thing with Midnight Tangent Ryan. It doesn't even necessarily have to be for houses. It could be for buildings. E.g., you can't upgrade the blacksmith without having beaten a certain dungeon. Yeah. So if all I want is that discovery aspect, and if there are usually, how about this? What if there were always just two choices and it randomized from the list? Now, one of the problems there is you could get the same roll a bunch of times. They might also apply to shops, or you get them only through blueprints. I think you just said what I wrote down. Because I think what I just said covers this. It doesn't necessarily have to be just for houses that you get blueprints. It could be for buildings. Like you can't upgrade the blacksmith without having beaten a certain dungeon, since the dungeon has the blueprint. Okay, yeah. I just want to make sure this wasn't like a, hey, you weren't listening. It was more like a, I want to make sure I'm capturing all the unique stuff here. Okay, so I think I like option 2. I think I like option number 2 for now, since it'll keep things interesting. How do you get your first adventurer, though? Because the way that I was planning on doing this was... running low on wares, I can help fix that. What's the catch? Well, I need a place to stay. And I like that house over there. And I charge I charge a portal fee. I don't know, whatever, something like that. Work on that. First adventurer lives in the apartment above the shop. I mean, it's a whole town that you're running, so if there's just like one apartment, that would be kind of shoddy. Maybe. Oh, wait, I think you were trying to answer the question of how do you get the first one. What I meant more was how do you choose the first one? So let's say I am giving you a choice of 3 every time after the first one. Like the way that the original game worked is that you picked right from the title screen, do you want warrior, mage, or necromancer? So this could still exist for, sorry, let me just mute this. Let me just take a picture of this. All right, there. So yeah, so this could still be there in the game. You're picking a choice of like which character do you want first, but you don't actually start as this character. I think that would be confusing. I think we should just give you the first one. And maybe it should just be the rogue or the warrior or something like that. Or the, I don't know. Yeah, I think we should just give you the first one. And then you pick all the ones after that. Okay. I think we picked the first one for you. Maybe it's... maybe it's always the warrior, for example. Actually, the first one, I mean, if we have a storyline, the first one could be whoever the end boss is, and they turn on you. That's a unique storyline. I am being sarcastic. I know that's not unique, but I think it could still be interesting. Let me see. If I look through the whole, there it is, preview. Here we go. So here are all the characters that we had. Yeah, I was just picturing it'd be like this one here. This character comes up to you, is like, hey, I can help you out. Yeah. Try to find an easy way to send messages in chat on live stream from some account. My current account, is it possible with the YouTube API? Yes, it is possible with the YouTube API. Whole idea is that it has some text generation neural network, and I'd like to send generated text as a reply to chat message from another person. Yep. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what my bot does. And you can see the code that does it over here. So if you just search this for YouTube, just up in search, just type YouTube, and you'll find the various code that I wrote for this. Couldn't find an easy way with Python. You should just be able to use the YouTube live stream API. So they have this. Yep, and then they have clients. Client libraries. Here it is. They have one right here for Python. And they have some samples too. So they probably have one for sending messages. I'd be pretty surprised if they don't. YouTube. YouTube samples are in a different, they're in another castle. Okay, Python, are they in here? List streams, my uploads. So like send a chat message. I mean, I guess we could just find it by searching through what the API is. So where is the API? Reference. Live chat messages. Here it is. It's insert a live chat message. So we'll just search for that. And then we'll try to find Python. And they don't do that there. Maybe messages? No. Okay, well, maybe they don't have something for Python for that. At least not in their samples, but they should have it in their documentation. I'd be pretty surprised if they don't. Unfortunately, it's going to be practically impossible to find this stuff, huh? Yeah, they've got it in some HTML here. Documentation, see the docs folder. How to... Okay, well, I don't know. I can't find this easily. And this is supposed to be for all Google APIs, so they... Oh, hey, they've got this. YouTube. Here it is. Live chat messages. Insert. There it is. There you go. This is the API that you want. Hey, Samurai. I'm doing well. Maybe make one class only to be discoverable through instances, some minimum level instance like 10. Yeah, whether I want to gate them on instances is kind of interesting because I really don't see, like, if you did that, it'd sort of be that that character is more powerful maybe or like harder to use, but they're all automated, so it doesn't really matter in the end, I think. Yeah. Actually, having it take your... Okay, so if you are a skeleton and your body is taken out of a portal, then the game has to be named something to reflect that. So I'm not going to go the skeleton route if it's not called something like Skeleseller. I just want to be clear on that. Even if I like that idea. All right, so yeah, we're going to write this down over here. Okay, so you start with a predetermined class. The first adventurer is a predetermined class. As you say, it's the rogue or the warrior. All subsequent adventurers are chosen by the player from a pool of 2 or 3 classes that you don't already have. Yeah. Okay. Are adventurers helping in a bigger way than just farming items? Do they man the shops? I think the answer is no. I kind of liked the idea originally of like, well, you could go battle with them, or you could make them whatever, work as a blacksmith and start producing items. But I don't really think we should do that. I think they're just your hired goons. Yeah. How did this mock-up thing get here? Oh, I wrote it twice. That's how it got there. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, sure, TensorFly. Also, searching that documentation, it's not too bad once you know what you're looking for. And I've used Google's APIs a decent amount. But yeah, a lot of it is just GitHub searching for what you are trying to find. So in this case, it was like message stuff. And if I just searched messages in their library, I might have found it. Does it make sense for you to always be finding reagents and using those to craft items? And even if it does, I think it's cool to find pre-made items every once in a while. This is interesting. Yeah, like what should be the ratio of items that you find? And I don't really think we need to answer this right now. Wait, what? Permanently turning into NPC that helps you with selling the items. Having to start with a new character? I don't think I follow what you're saying. Helps you with selling the item. You mean the adventurers would do that? Yeah, I guess that's what you mean. Yeah, like you have a warrior and it turns into some just extra hands on the town. Yeah. Sacrifice your character. Yeah, but unfortunately, I mean, the starting a new character thing would be like with the level system that we decided on, it would just be like, well, you just replace them instantaneously. So yeah, I gotta write how the item system works, at least a little bit. So I wrote that there's a building that is a crafter, which turns garbage items into useful items. And it could potentially do this by taking stuff in your inventory. Maybe it's just each individual shop. Yeah, so I should write down items. Okay, so each shop can only sell like finished items, not reagents. Reagents would be something like Batwing or Empty Flask. The reagents are used by the shops to craft new items, to craft finished items. Yeah. You find both finished items and reagents. Well, the crafting system here would be something like the shop just automatically takes in your trash and turns it into finished stuff. So it's not a super in-depth system. Yeah. At least that's what I'm thinking for this stuff. All right, what else do we have? Maybe you get new skills using money. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's write this down here. Originally, I talked about how now all of your characters are the same level. Yeah, originally it was that they'd be different levels. So if they're all the same level, maybe you could buy skill points for them, and you're buying a skill point for all of them and all future adventurers. But then I guess what's the point of leveling up? So buying skill points could make sense. Money is experience. It would be kind of interesting to have that happen, right? Like you win the dungeon and you get nothing but items. Nothing but items. That's it. No money, no experience. And then you sell those items and that's how you get money. So like battling gives you items, which leads to getting money, which could lead to everything else in the game. The game name is Loot Tycoon. So yeah, what if that's how you leveled everybody up? I don't know, but it's interesting. You're basically it's almost like you're saying I can afford stronger adventurers. And it's not really that you're leveling up the adventurers. But that doesn't really make sense with a house system. Like someone staying in your house, if they're level 17, just because you have more money, it doesn't make them level 50. So that doesn't really make sense, I guess. I I do like this idea though. Man, I'm so torn. Man, I'm so torn. Let me just write some thoughts down. Okay, so what if we did this? The houses for the adventurers are all in the, I don't know, the residential part of town. And that part of town has a library or a school or something. And you dump money into the school to level up all of the adventurers. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That definitely makes a lot of sense. But then the problem is you're using money for everything because now you've got to make a choice. Oh wait, this is the kind of the thing I wanted to do earlier, though, right? Yeah, yeah. The player's the shop guy, not the adventurer. Shopkeepers know how much experience they have. Yep, 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 yep. Well, but this, I think this still works in that system. You have a school, and your school has a level essentially. I mean, it's kind of a weird way of doing things. But yeah, like a school level 25 means all of your adventurers are level 25. Okay, I like this idea. I definitely like this idea. So what would this mean though? What are the repercussions of this? It means that dungeons are just for items. It means that running a dungeon multiple times just gives you more fodder for money. Yeah. All right. What do you think, chat? What do you think of this system? You're leveling up a school, and that levels up your adventurers. Great. We don't have to math out the experience. Well, I mean, we still would have to math out the amount of money you need. Guild? What do you mean by guild? Is there, are you saying it's a guild instead of a town or school? Because I could just write or guild or something here. Yeah, instead of school. Yeah, yeah. Okay, we should talk about that. I guess I'll just write that down. Talk about what makes the most sense here. And no other level up. So what would you expect, Smo? Because what I'm thinking is your guild or whatever is the thing with the level, and then adventurers essentially like inherit that level, and you get whatever, X skill points or a skill point every X levels. So for example, your guild is level 50, so now all adventurers are level 50, and you have whatever, like 49 skill points or something like that available. This is So you could still have different level characters by having them live in different areas. No. All your characters would be the same level. They all live in just the residential part of town, and maybe there's a maximum of like 20 characters in the game anyway. But yeah, they would always be the same level with or without this system, because I don't want you to have to like, you got a bunch of high level characters. You need to get a new character, and then you need to like raise it up to the same level as all the other ones. I'm definitely leaning toward this. Yeah. Yeah, the guild building is a single thing. Yep. Just one guild, and it has a level. And it's like your guild. All the adventurers go to that guild, so they become that level. It's assumed that they're like sharing knowledge or something. And you are putting funds into the guild to level it up. So, maybe not sure exactly how we'd balance this. Like guild level 2 might cost, 500, and guild level 3 might cost like 2,500. This would have to ramp up pretty rapidly, such that maybe your character levels aren't actually getting all that high. And maybe it's always like a 3 times multiplier, like we do something like that. Just get one town, not an extra town. Yeah, I think just one town. Because if you got an extra town, you'd have to start like scrolling between the two of them on the map, or panning between them on the map. I'd like to keep everything in generally the same area. So like your town should have the majority of the stuff going on in a way that you could see at a glance. And if you have to pan a little bit, like maybe here's where the houses are, but you don't really need to watch what the houses are doing. And maybe up here is where your inventory is, and maybe over here is where something else is. But like the majority of the time, you just want to see like, oh, where are customers coming in and buying stuff? So yeah, something like that. All right, I'm gonna write this down. I think this is good. I think this makes sense. Where did I write this for level and experience? So there is no experience in the game. So your town has a guild, and that guild has a level. All of your hired adventurers are always that level. Okay, and then you upgrade the guild by spending money. So rationale, this means that, yeah, this means that the only way to level up is to spend money. Loot really means everything in the game. Battles give loot. You sell that loot for money. Then you choose where to spend your money. This adds clear choices for how to improve your adventurers. Yeah, I like this system quite a lot. We definitely need to figure out how this is all going to go, though. Need to plan out the process of selling stuff. Maybe you have various displays of weapons, armors, potions, spellbooks, and trinkets, and any adventurer can walk to a display and purchase something. I should say any customer, any potential customer. Maybe to show the quantity you have left. Imagine the amount of sprites they'll need for this. Well, I was kind of picturing, I don't know if I can show this easily, but like, let's say like RPG building or buildings or something like that. I wasn't even, yeah, like where's a good example of this? Something like this is kind of what I was picturing, where this shop is maybe what, like a 4x4 in terms of the sprite size here. This is even maybe a little too big, but you just have like a few different buildings, and maybe there's a signpost above it that says what it is. And like, this is the shop. Or maybe it doesn't even work like that. Maybe you're not building a building so much as you're just getting an NPC who's going to do this for you. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just the loot. Oh, the loot. I think even the graphics we already have in that Oryx sprite set is good enough. Like here's what we have. Zoom in on this. I like never. There we go. Yeah, so like you got a bunch of different potions, you got a bunch of different weapons and swords and armors and whatever else. And then you could just keep recoloring these. I don't think the items need to look fantastically amazing. You could put some like effects on this, maybe particle system coming off this fiery sword or outlines or something, and just change names around, have AI come up with that. I think that should be fine. Yeah, it's a decent set. It's a good starting set at least. You could always add in more. And a lot of other games have, or a lot of other asset packs, like, I don't know, this, how many are in here? Does it say how many? I don't know if it says the total number, but I mean, you can kind of see from here, it's like, okay, yeah, we got this. Plus, Quickie Joe's working on the game, and he can draw some of the sprites. Hey, Wing Out. But yeah, I imagine it's not going to be too bad to find item icons. Yeah, so this, I don't know. This is something we'll need to mock up for sure. Team now. Does this mean there will be someone else working on the game? Yeah, so I haven't made the credits page yet, but it's going to be Darkstorm, and I think I'm typing their name correctly here, Quickie Joe. So Darkstorm's going to be doing some development, some probably like filling in the blanks for some asset stuff, a little bit of game design. Quickie Joe's going to be mostly doing art and some possibly like UI UX stuff. It'd be cool to get someone to do UI and UX, like a dedicated person, but yeah, I don't know how much is needed. How dare you have Darkstorm pivot off of Jump Royale? How dare I? I think Darkstorm's still working on Jump Royale. Although, by the way, just to be clear, the Jump Royale thing was never like a hired position or a contract or something. That was just Darkstorm wanting to contribute to Jump Royale. And I appreciate it. It's been great. And I think people have been enjoying the changes. But I haven't been like, go make this game. Now go make this game. That's not how this went. You should have to buy your new skills rather than get them from leveling up. This is essentially the case now. So yeah, this is figured out. Hey, Wendy. How's it going? Oh man, we made some big changes this game, Wendy. It's gonna be great. Hey, Trisket. Is it still in the proof of concept phase? So this is kind of answered at the top of this document. And I'm not saying this to be a jerk or something. I'm just saying I want to point to this right now. So this is how we were. This is where we started, which was design the original game. Then we spent about 3 weeks prototyping it super fast. Then we did a fun check on itch, and there's this you are here now. So now we're in the like, let's build it out. So I put together a small team, and I am currently redesigning the game based on all the feedback we got from the prototype. And I think we're in a pretty good spot. I'm very excited about it. Yeah. Crushing Nightmare. Oh no. I'm sorry to hear that, Wendy. Played your game, started writing some notes of help behind. No. Don't worry about it. That's totally fine. Also, when you do get around to it, if you can use the feedback form that exists right on the same page as the game, that would be perfect. That way it's all in one spot for me. So yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, as long as you're using the form, that's good. But Wendy, do you have time for me to run this by you really fast? Because if so, I can run some of the quick changes by you. Okay, yeah. I should be passable over this kind of game. Yeah. So, okay. So in the prototype, there were a lot of things that I think kind of didn't work well. So for one, manually choosing abilities in battle didn't really make sense. So that's already kind of been changed. I'll show you that really fast. So now You'll still have abilities. You'll only have 2, and they'll just get used as soon as they're off cooldown. Oh, that didn't really show that easily. Let's go over to here maybe. Okay, so Fire Blast is going to get used, done. It's off cooldown, like gets used again. So it's like much clearer what's going on in a battle. And like I said, you only have 2 abilities, so that's one change. One of the big changes is you will have a town in the game. So imagine something like this. I just mocked this up really quickly. And you'll have different sellers there who are selling to NPC customers. So they'll come in through a portal and they'll go look at all the different things they could buy and they'll maybe buy something. And so now you're going to get items from battling. So battles will lead to getting items. Items are sold in your town, and then the money is used to upgrade the town and your adventurers. So that's kind of the big new system here. And then instead of a world map, we'll have like dungeons or instances or something. And those will be through these portals. And you'll form parties, which people were also asking about, like, why can't I have parties in the game? So lots of big changes, I'd say. Yeah. So that's what we've been designing. And yeah, development's going to start maybe even in a week. Excuse me. Okay, so I think this is answered. Yeah. Items you can't use should have some kind of junk in your crafting. What does mid-game look like? I think it's something we'll answer in playtesting. Don't care about that. Storyline, I'll flesh out a little bit more, I think. We'll bump this to the bottom for now. All right, do battle windows still need to exist? I don't think so. I think we got rid of this. Yeah. Keep an eye on how many items you're getting versus how many you're selling as the game progresses. A classic producer-consumer problem. Yeah, this is kind of interesting because like your town should probably start out and not really be selling items all that quickly. But if you're producing too many items, then you'll be like, well, I want to upgrade how fast I can sell them. Do you only get money through selling the loot, or is there some gold reward? I think only through selling the loot, and the instance can just give you more loot. I think it's assumed that your characters are stealing the money from you. So that's why you never get anything from an instance. It's possible if we determine that this is a problem, like it's possible we just give you some gold. Yeah, instances could totally do that. If customers level up depending on how much they buy and how good the items are, level them up and they have more money to spend. So I was thinking about doing that through a different means, but something like that. So essentially there would be upgrades where, I think I wrote this down somewhere. Yeah. So you could make your town more attractive, like put flowers and fountains and statues. And then that would attract more people. They would have more money. They would want more things. They would, yeah, they're more likely to show up, those sorts of things. But so I was thinking about it like from town beautification, not from like leveling up the customers, I guess. But that would be kind of interesting, leveling up the customers. You sell maps to the dungeons, and when they're successful, they agreed to share the treasure. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not, like I said, I'm not opposed to having the dungeons drop money. I just don't think it's probably needed at first. And yeah, life's been treating me well. I was mentioning this, but my wife and I have been going on really long walks lately. So like yesterday we did about 13 miles. And it's kind of funny because when you do distances that long, you're like, let's walk to another city and get lunch. And it takes like 4 hours or 5 hours. But yeah, yesterday was like a beautiful day. We did a bunch of stuff. It was great. You could have it when you max level a customer, you get a new decoration type. Yeah, so I think how this plays out will be like interesting to see. I think I'm more prone to want you to level up your town than level up the customers, like I said. And if it turns out that that doesn't work or there's a more convincing way later, I think we can pivot. I think mostly what I'm trying to come up with right now is like, what are the foundational systems? And then if anything is missing, get it so that we don't need to change the entire game. So let's say, for example, that we were talking about like leveling customers versus the town. Like in my mind, this is not a core decision that's going to cause us to be in bad shape down the road. And I'm not saying that Wendy's saying it is or anything like that. It's like, if this is a problem, then cool, we just pretty much like write another week of code or something and we're done. What I would not like to have happen is, the difference between the prototype and this is a pretty significant change. So we were like, hey, this doesn't work. Oh, let's go make a town mechanic here. And it's like, oh, that's quite a lot to add. You need to now rebalance the entire game around this. So that's why I think it's good that we're doing this with the knowledge of the prototype. Yes, so Pyrosoft, I played Dungeon Village probably in 2012. And yeah, this reminds me a lot of Dungeon Village, but I think there are quite a bunch of changes from it. Yeah. Can we run sales, increase chances of sales for less money? That could be an interesting idea. Yeah, that could be an interesting idea. Just get rid of your inventory, basically. The part of I'll write this down. Part of what I have as a problem with a lot of this is balancing it. So to some extent, it doesn't matter. It's a single player game. So like, who cares? If you're having fun, then that's all that matters. Did you buy the game? Did you have fun? Those are the main things that I care about. But when you think about balance, it's like, okay, let's say you have this discount system. You as a player don't know all the mathematical formulas that go into this. But let's say it turns out there's some sweet spot of like, hey, just always set the discount to 85%. And that's the best mix of like, you're pulling in the right amount of items and selling the right amount of items. And I don't know. I just kind of don't like that idea of, oh, if you look this number up, you'd play the game optimally. And if not, you'd have to figure it out. I'd rather just be like, I don't know. Yeah. Something this is not even a system, I suppose. But yeah, I'm not totally sure how selling's going to work yet. We got to figure that out. Let me continue. Where did we leave off with this? Keep an eye on how many items you're getting versus how many you're selling. Classic producer consumer problem. Yeah, I don't even think I need to really keep this anywhere. I'll write it down here, but it's not something that's, I think it'll be obvious as we play. So what story can come out of commerce and battling? Characters to say, look, we'll do the work for you. Yeah, I already kind of wrote this down. Restocking and movement of items can be done by NPCs that move inventory around, but I feel like it's mostly a visualization, so it can be done later. Yeah, I'll write this down in ideas too. All right, why are these adventurers fighting for you? Yeah, we already answered that. Okay, so here are the main three things we have left, which is, what's the storyline? Did I look through all the other questions? And is it worth mocking up or storyboarding stuff? And I mean, the answer to this is yes. It's not really a question that's important. It's the actual mockups that are important. So, and looking through all the other questions, we got to do that too. So yeah, there's plenty of work to do this week. And then I'm pretty confident we've got a good game in the works here. Sales could be a good way to recover yourself enough money to afford going into a portal again if you keep losing. Well, what I was thinking is you'll always have enough money to go into like lower level portals, probably. Because I mentioned this earlier, but if let's say you're level 50, a portal that's level 50 will maybe cost you, I don't know, I'm just making up a number here, like 50,000 to go into. But a portal that's level 25 may only cost you like 500 at that point because it's so much lower level than you. But when you were level 25, then first of all, this level 50 portal would probably cost like too much for you to possibly afford. And this one would cost like, something commensurate with your level. So yeah, 5,000. So yeah, if you ever get stuck like needing tens of thousands, you'd be like, let me go back to the older portal and I'll get some money from that. Dragon Cliff. I'll write that down. Never heard of that. Also seems like a weird name for a game. If there isn't a total randomness to if someone buys your loot, it'll most likely always be a sweet spot for maximizing sales. Yeah, I agree. I just think when it comes to having a sale price, like I wasn't even thinking you set a sale price. I was just thinking you just put an item out and the customer figures it out for you. So there's like diamond sword and customers are like, yeah, you know what? That sounds like I'll pay $1,234 for it. And that's it. They sometimes pay that. They sometimes pay whatever 11.50, and they sometimes pay like 13.50, and it says like critical sell. That would be pretty funny. Actually, that would be pretty funny, but I don't think that makes sense. Uh, and so in a game like Moonlighter, you were actually setting the price. So you would say, okay, I think I could get 500 for this, and a customer buys it immediately, and you're like, oh wow, I actually should have probably sold it for 1,000. And so you set it to 1,000, and like, ooh, I'm never purchasing that, and then you find out that the sweet spot is 800. This was like, it's an interesting idea, but I feel like it was almost sort of tedious because every single item had you binary search your way through figuring out how much should this cost, and you had to kind of remember, and I don't know, I just didn't like that so much. Please add critical sale. I'll write it down as an idea. Also, one of the other things I'm gonna have to do is convert or move all these ideas. So make sure to move everything in this document, including the ideas, to another document that is more finalized. Delete the scratch stuff. Critical sales. Customers sometimes pay a lot more money. This should be very rare, like 1%. Okay, so what's the storyline? So we came up with the start of the game, and I like the idea of the start of the game here. You start with enough money to build your first building. Building causes some NPCs to show up. They buy some of your items. Then an adventurer shows up and says, hey, you're running low on wares. I can help fix that. What's the catch? I need a place to stay, and I charge a portal fee. You hire them. They go do battle. You send them in the portal. So that's at least a starting point, and that's option one. Option number one. Oh, they had critical sales in their game? Is that what jogged your memory for that? I'll write that down too. Sells it to his buddies for $2. Critical misses would probably feel pretty bad in this game. Can customers steal from you? I'm inclined to say no. Like I said, I kind of want this to be a chill game. And if customers could steal, you'd be like, well, I got 10 adventurers in the town next door. Why don't they just handle this? Reuse the battle system for bartering. Yeah, I think it would be kind of neat to do that, but yeah. I think these are things that could happen in like DLC or something. Someone just said something that I wanted to write down though. What was it? Or wait, was it me who said something that I wanted to write down? Oh no. What did I just type? Oh no, what was I gonna write down? Oh, the story. Yeah. So story, option number one. We have you are just starting out. These are story options, storyline options. So you're just starting out as a shopkeep, and yeah, that conversation plays out. You build your first shop, some customers come and buy things, and then you start to run out of items. An adventurer shows up and offers their services for housing and portal contract fees. So that's at least the start of the game. And option number two is you are adventuring, you die, you go back as a skeleton. You decide to pursue your second dream of being a shopkeep. You become Skella Seller. Option number two. Darkstorm, let me ask you, since you're actually going to be involved making this game, do you like the concept of Scala Seller? Number two, do skeletons have to pay taxes? Yeah. Skeletal Yoshis, though, try to commit tax fraud. Definitely 100%. All right. Yeah. All right. I think we can do it then. So this is not how you would start the game then. Well, it could still be how you start the game. You are adventuring, you die, you come back as a skeleton. You're like, well, that wasn't my first goal in life anyway. Or that was my goal in life, but now I'm dead. So now my first goal is to become a shopkeep. And you start out. So we basically just do this. We duplicate this whole thing, and then we put these up here. And then there are no options. It is just storyline. And that's it. And we delete line number 7, I guess. There. Okay. Now, out of curiosity, what happens when you Google search Skella Seller? Welcome to Amazon Seller Central. What? Are there skeletons running that? Yeah, I think we're pretty good then. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Why can't a skeleton be an adventurer? I don't make the rules. I just literally make the rules. People think he's an enemy in the dungeons. Maybe you don't have muscles to hold a sword. I don't know. Do I need to answer this question? Can we have an actual skeleton sign? I think we're forced to do that. I think it's a contractual obligation that if you make a game like this, you need as many skeleton puns as you can have. For lore, you have to answer yes. So yeah, why can't you be a skeleton? Or why can't you be a skeleton and still adventure? I mean, we could go the humorous route and say it's not that people thought you were an enemy in the dungeons. People thought you were a friend in the dungeons and kept inviting you to parties and stuff. And you're like, but I want to kill you all. I don't know. I'm not going to answer this. We're going a different direction here. All right, so this is conclusion. Did I write anything about title here? Need a title for the game. We're going with Skella Seller. And we're going to put this at the top of this. I don't know, starting the game. So you are adventuring. Your dream is to be an adventurer. You're out questing one day when you die. How are you killed? Is it important how you're killed in this game? Botulism, no. I need something unique, like an arrow to your knee. Caleb, thank you for resubbing. It's very generous of you. You're on a 6-month total, 5-month streak. Just blasting through subs over here. Yeah, I don't know what kills you yet. A lack of resources because no shops are. Oh man, yeah, you got poisoned by a snake and there was no one to sell you an antidote. It's hilarious. It's like the 1 HP of damage. Oh man, this is great. This is absolutely great. Okay, so you're out questing one day when you encounter a poisonous snake. You win the fight, but the poison is dealing 1 HP of damage every so often. You head to the nearest town, but there are no shops open, so you can't find an antidote. You die. You come back as a skeleton. So stupid. Well, I have to give you a point for this. Yeah, no break. I decided to just skip it this time. I probably shouldn't have, but what's done is done now. Got a new job and moving to Germany. Wow, yeah. Well, congratulations. I think look, that is a big move, so it's normal to be anxious, but hopefully it works out. You had pockets full of loot too. Perfect. Oh man, this is all working out. Yeah, you come back as a skeleton. You had pockets full of loot. And decide to pursue your dream of being a shopkeep. No, not a dream. No, it's not a dream anymore. And decide that this should never happen to another adventurer. No, it's this way. You decide this should never happen to another adventurer. You had pockets full of loot and decide to open your own shop in a place you call Skeletown. All right. So you build your first shop. I guess it should be a potion shop. You build a potion shop first. Wait, you can't build a potion shop first because if you had the potion on you, you would have just consumed it, right? So no, you build your first shop. Shouldn't be a potion shop since you died to poison. Which implies, well, you could have other potions on you, I guess. If it's a potion shop, then you shouldn't have any antidotes on you yet, since you died to poison. Actually, that could be another funny little twist, right? Oh, I actually did have an antidote. Dress up the Lord business talk. I'm giving you a point, not for the business talk thing, but for the you had pockets full of loot thing, which definitely helps fill in the blanks. Keep thinking about the long term, and even if it doesn't work out, it'll be great to try a different type of software development. Yeah. I think that sort of experience is a good opportunity. Because, like, how often do you get an opportunity like that? When can you take that opportunity? A big grill papa. You die finding the deed to the last potion shop on the body of the old shopkeep who died testing their potion. I think this is pretty good so far, but that could work. Yeah. All right, take care, Windy. Hope your nightmare of a day gets better. Although, actually, it's almost done, right? Yeah. So soon enough, it will end. The nightmare will be over. You will wake up a fresh man, and you will consume keep dust as one normally starts the day. Okay, so building it causes a few NPC customers to start appearing in the entrance portal. You don't actually have a plot of land in this scenario, though, right? Maybe you're building it in someone else's town. You eventually evict them. No, I guess you're building this on a random plot of land, or maybe near other people, and eventually evicting them for space. One must consume the dust. And abandon town, but if you like you head to a town to try to find an antidote. So if it was abandoned, then it means there wasn't anything that was there to be sold, right? Also, it would mean that there's no foot traffic there. I think it has to be a town that's already somewhat established, and you just open a shop in it, and then you have to evict the people who are there by buying them out. Although maybe they don't have very high buyout fees. Yeah. That is certainly a wake up. One must consume the dust. Buy most of your starter items that you see how the game works. Then your first an adventurer enters through the portal. Rogue, I guess. They say something like, I see you're running low on wares. I can help fix that. And you could say, I used to be an adventurer like you. What's the catch? Well, I need a place to stay, and I like the house over there. Oh, you wouldn't have a house, though, for them. So maybe you say, I need a place to stay. And I charge a portal fee. The guild. Okay, this is the only part. Okay. Oh man. I would like for it to be that you just automatically have your town set up somehow from the get-go. I mean, you must have had a house in the game. So I guess you're going back to your own town where you're from. Cinnamon pretzel things. Oh wow. Yeah. I like cinnamon desserty sorts of things. Do we establish a guild or we just support an existing guild? I guess when you build the guild, it could be built at level 2. Yeah, so maybe we write types of building. Guild starts at level 2 so that your adventurers level up. It's responsible for setting the level of your adventurers. Town is Sentinelese. Is that a word? Oh. I've heard of this. I just didn't know what it was called. Would you buy stuff from shops run by a skeleton? No. But where did I write the story down? Oh, here it is. Adventure enters the portal. I see you're running low on wares. I can help fix that. What's the catch? Well, I need a place to stay and an extra portal fee. Yeah, so I think this is kind of the problem here. I'll just write XXX over here. All right, so problem. If you died in, I guess, your own town or your like hometown, you don't just have a shop ready to set up. Maybe, okay, maybe we have like a 2 years later kind of thing. Yeah, that could work. Come back as a skeleton. You decide that this should never happen to another adventurer. You had pockets full of loot and decide to open your own shop in a place you call Skeleton. Cut to 2 years later. Yeah, there. That works perfectly. You have a house. You have a couple of houses. Or maybe a house. I don't know. Or maybe just one that you end up sharing. A plot of land, etc. Wait, how did you afford any of this, though? No, this can't make sense, right? The whole point was that you were setting this up. Maybe cut to like 2 months later, 6 months later. Or you found an abandoned house. You found an abandoned town. You found an abandoned town. Yeah. Cut to a month later. You found an abandoned town with a couple of houses. It's shabby looking. You had some savings. You start the game with a ton of money, and then 2 years later, you have a shop and $500. You find another dead adventurer with money. No, I think it's got to be an abandoned town. A couple of houses, it's shabby looking. Cut to some. It can't be a month later, like a few days later. Yeah, you found an abandoned town with a couple of houses, shabby looking. Why would you even do this though? Like you died, you came back, you were already in a town. Oh, maybe you got pushed out of the town. The townspeople don't welcome skeletons. So you set out to find a suitable place. Yeah. Cut to a few days later, you found an abandoned town with a couple of houses, shabby looking. You put up So you put up a sign that says Skeleton. Might have missed it, but have you heard of a game called, heard of the game Majesty? No, I haven't heard that. I'll write that down and check it out. Thank you. Too much interesting stuff to listen to here. I've got some stuff I need to do, so I'm going to see. All right, yeah, take care, Caleb. And congrats again. Your real house has already been handed off to your ungrateful children now that you're dead. That's like the end of the story, is disowning your kids in death. You build your first shop. I guess you're building this on a random plot of land. No. So now we've answered that question. Building it causes a few NPC customers to start appearing in the entrance portal. You had no idea what that portal was for until now. They buy most of your starter items so you can see how the game works. Then an adventurer or rogue enters through the portal. They say something like, I see you're running low on wares. I can fix that. What's the catch? I need a place to stay and charge a portal fee. You're hired. You hire them. They instruct you to build a portal to wherever it is they battle. Or maybe that, yeah, something like that. I don't know. You send them in the portal and watch them do battle. They automatically send back items. Sold in your starter shop. Yeah, cool. All right, there. Scala Seller it is. Wow. Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, there's a storyline if I've ever heard one. So is there anything else we need? Anything else we need for the story? Like what happens at the end of the game? Maybe there's an adventurer taking 1 damage from poison and you have the perfect antidote for them. It's come full circle. All right, so ending the game after beating the final boss, an adventurer wanders into your town. They're slowly dying to poison from a snake. You say, I've got just the thing, and run to get them a potion, an antidote. They drink it. They're fine. They say, thank goodness you saved me, or else I would have turned into a skeleton and had to open a shop. What do they say? Maybe they just assume, okay, yeah, I think that would be a good thing. They drink it. They don't seem all that surprised or grateful. Of course, there should be a shop that sells antidotes. The final scene is an extreme zoom in on your skeleton's face as it gets angry. Cut to the credits. Oh my God. Okay, I love it. They can't afford your antidote and are now debt enslaved to you. I think something like that is, like I said earlier with the other suggestions, it's one way to go, and I don't think it's bad. I think it'd be funny. Like, this is something you take for granted in RPGs, right? You get poisoned, so of course you go to the town, and of course they have infinite antidotes, and it costs like next to nothing for you to buy. Or you just go to the cleric and you're fully healed, right? And so you died. You spent your whole life then rebuilding a town and a shop, and you stock antidotes, and some dumb adventurer comes in and is like, yeah, well, I'm going to buy something for 5 gold. and you give it to them and they insult you to the point where, yeah, you're just angry about it. Yeah, I think this is great. I feel like everything has really come together. Yeah. Wow. Okay, where do we leave off with the questions? Although I am starting to run out of steam. Actually, how much time do I have? I have a decent amount of time. I could probably just take a break and do a little bit more. I think we answered this. I think that's what we'll do. Yeah, I'll take a break and we'll look through some of the original documents questions. Okay. Yeah, I'll be back in a little bit. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hey, everybody. Close the game. All right, so we're going to try to fly through some of these other questions that I had in other documents. Excuse me. And then we need to kind of look through the rest of the stuff. Hang on. Also, let me write something down really fast. Okay, sorry. Need to write something that was private. So looking through all these other things and making sure we answer the questions, because there was a lot in here. I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this. Need to finalize everything, obviously. All right, risks to the project. Let's look through some of these. Yeah. Well, the prototype definitely worked. Finally have a chance and jump right out. When coding any new systems should be done like this. Make a YouTube video on something. May want to make regular dev videos or shorts. It's good for this. Yeah, I think we're just going to... I don't think we're going to go back to this document. So I think we're just going to file away some of these things. So does the skill system make sense? Would it be better to pick 1 to 3 mods for each ability rather than leveling them up? I think leveling up makes sense now. Does it feel like having different enemies and zones is a fun mechanic, or you just want to be good enough? Yeah, so I don't think it would have been all that fun exactly, but I think we're gonna find some way to make it work with a new party system. Does the game handle a lot of extra battles? So now we're actually gonna have fewer battles than I'd planned on having. But we'll have them with more characters, but that doesn't really add a lot of overhead or anything. They'll also always be visible on screen. I think this will be fine. I don't think performance-wise we should have an issue here. How do we improve the UI? Yeah, I definitely need to reach out to Funky Monkey about this. Yeah, could do this for Skella Seller. Do I have? No, I don't. Okay, let's go do that. Why is this not working? There we go. It's always a little bit weird. So Idle Ascendants. I had Simula Fantasy here. We're just going to replace this with Skella Seller. There we go. All right, now I should be able to type it like that. Nice. All right, manual control. It did not benefit from manual control. Even more manual control, I don't think so. Should there be anything else during a battle? Should there be a story? Do battles last long enough to differentiate themselves? Can I simplify anything? Is there anything missing? There's the potential problems. Where's the fun? Need for more end game. Timeline and making the... Okay, so this is a question I have not answered yet. Should I get other people to join the project? I have gotten other people to join the project now. What should the name of the game be? We have a name of the game. Cool. So I think all those are answered. My own thoughts. I want your characters to be smarter. This is now totally different. The fun is from watching battles play out. Original design for skills probably doesn't make much sense. Yep, that's going to be mitigated as well. Weaknesses or strengths shouldn't be hidden from you. Have like 54 characters in the worst case scenario. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think that part's going to be too crazy, but I mean, there will be a lot of effects and projectiles and text and particle systems and all that stuff. I think it'll still be fine. Also, all those things could be turned off if there were a problem. So you could just be like, oh, no particles or something. Idea that some characters will be better than others is fine. Yep, no reason in the prototype to get more characters. I think we need to lean into manual controls. Automatically into battles, stick around long enough where they end. Oh, this is another benefit of the new dungeon system, is that when a battle ends, you're just in the world still. So this should work pretty well. Where did I write the rationale for that? Where is it? Here, yeah. Rationale, you can tell what you can do battle with, dedicated screen space, but less confusing. And the end of the results of a battle should be more apparent, since you'll still see damage numbers and effects lingering before the instance closes. Yeah, I'm really excited for this. Okay. I think we need more things to persist between battles. This is still kind of up in the air. I think when you go back to town, everything should be reset. Like your life, any buffs you had, any debuffs you had. But in between battles in a dungeon, those things probably shouldn't be reset. Yeah. Okay, that part was done. Death needs to be changed. Progress becomes nearly impossible at points. Yep, yep, yep. Some other way you can customize your character. No, cool. Okay. Probably makes sense to make a logo and Steam page somewhat soon. I don't know how early to do this. I don't know how early is too early. So I'm just going to write this down under questions over here. Like, I think wish listing a game is important when you have enough to represent the game. But like, if 2 months into the game, do we have enough? I don't know. In an instance, you should go on the same HP bar. Always reset on end. Well, I'm not sure I understand that part, but yeah, the always resetting on the end would be the case. So you would always start an instance with full HP. All right, consider doing tutorials on YouTube. Wee woo, wee woo. Thanks for resubbing, Patootie. Welcome back. All right, early access builds for testing. So that's another question. This is, I mean, purely opinion here, but should the early access stuff be accessible to everyone or just subs? Oh. 5 out of 5, yeah. Pretty good. You know me well. So, I mean, I want feedback. So I don't really want to limit it to people. When you beat the first room and progress, you don't heal. But oh, yeah. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. But I wonder about buffs and debuffs. And yeah, probably they should persist. Yeah. Want feedback, so probably everyone. Yeah. All right, well, we can always consider that again later. Before launching the final game, you need to spend like a full 2 weeks on just juice and polish. Yep, I think we need to write that down here too. I know I'm writing this in the question section. And then pulling the outstanding tasks from here. What is here? Clean up and polish, post prototype changes. This is not very important. Post use turn-based debuffs. Allow for leveling up the class depending passive abilities. Oh yeah, that's a question I never answered. So what are the classes and abilities? At the very least, come up with a general description of them. And how do class defining abilities work? I guess what are the class defining abilities? The warrior had an on-kill effect because there were no parties. The warrior deals damage. Guess we're talking animations and particles. Yeah, and just kind of other cool ways of doing things. So imagine one way of showing the rewards could just be something like rewards, 5,000. And another way is to have this like count up to 5,000. So I don't know if you've ever seen those like React number counter things. But like that's another way of doing juice. It's just a minor thing, but it adds a little bit of like excitement to the numbers that you're seeing. All right, what else do we have here? So I looked through all of this. It's fine. And now I don't think any of this stuff should matter. Yeah, I don't think any of this stuff should matter. Yeah, okay. Shouldn't be a problem. Okay, go through the scratch pad. Yeah, that's what we were just doing. So idea, you're running a town that sells stuff to adventurers. Have we captured all of this? Yep. 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 Yeah, by the way, this is one of the major pros is like a lot of these RPG packs come with items anyway, and now we could use them. So it's like I paid for all these items a long time ago. I might as well be able to use them. Should you start with fewer than 3 abilities and work your way up? I think we answered this. Could potentially make this a party-based game. Yep. Show battles. We already answered that. Should be some other form of progression. Yeah, I think we answered this with the town system. Town conquering the world. Yeah. Anyone else interested in joining? I mean, this is something I could still ask. Yeah, if anyone here is a UX or UI designer and you're interested in joining this, let me know. Yeah, I'm still not sure what route I want to go for this. Yeah, what are we doing for assets? What's the starting experience? Elevator pitch. Points in base ability, coding. I think we pretty much addressed everything. I mean, even this, like getting rid of idle stuff. Yeah. All right, still gonna keep just looking through this. Yeah, a lot of these things just don't make any sense anymore and are gone. Quests or some state. Yeah, I don't think quests really matter. Some of these can be added on eventually anyway. Funny to reuse the battle UI for a mundane task. I thought this was a funny idea, but I don't think we'll have something like this in the game. Oh, this could still work for the new game. There could be instances where they say something like your healing is cut in half. Yeah, actually, I really like that idea. Yeah. Okay, let's write that down. Okay, so instances could have like dungeon-wide debuffs, e.g. healing is cut in half for your party, or you take double damage from all attacks. What kind of healing, regeneration, healing spells? We'd have to clarify. So yeah, probably all kinds of healing, but just the concept of having dungeon-wide debuffs could be kind of interesting. Or enemies are randomly immune to one element or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. 3 enemies on a line. Oh, I wonder if bosses should have special abilities too. Like, why can't a boss could have something where if your adventurers get down to 20% life, they just die. Some of that stuff could be kind of interesting. Similarly, bosses could have special abilities. Like any party member at 20% life or lower dies immediately. Boss spawns a bunch of snakes. Multiple starting zones. Yeah, a lot of this doesn't make sense anymore. Yeah, teaming up we did. Be log text in battle, merge characters. Town area. By creating regions, enemies that shield themselves. Mention the instance-wide stuff, so a thing to consider. How about having instance modifiers where you could apply penalties for extra experience, more monster life, more monsters damage penalty. Think in a form of usable rare items you apply to the portal. Yeah, so I wasn't thinking about it in terms of you use an item to get there. I think it's just like, you know, we have the whole like forest, cave, whatever else, and then you get some like special zone, the hazy forest. And here it's like all attacks have a 20% chance to miss. And it's just, or an extra 20% chance to miss. And it's just that zone that has this problem associated with it. And it was, I guess the key is that it's different from just like monsters do more damage or something. But I'm not even sure that this makes sense because it's like, why would you go here if you could go to a different zone? and also just level up and do stuff. So yeah, I'm not sure. Also, I wonder what even is the reason for having 3 different battles going on at once. I guess this is what we'll find out through prototyping. Right? It's like, would this game... I think the 3 battles thing was to make it so that you'd get items faster. Yeah, we could actually have adventurers have a cooldown. Like maybe they need to rest for a day afterward. I don't know. Did you mention some instances having a lower party size so you could use extra characters elsewhere? Yeah, but the lower party size I was thinking was more for the sake of like progression in the game. So like the forest, for example, will just allow like one character max, because it's the starting area. And then the cave could still be like 1 character max. And then you start unlocking, you know, maybe at like level 10, it's like a 2 character max. And then at the end of the game, it could be, you know, like 9 characters in a party. But yeah, some of the ones along the way could prevent you from having that many. And I'm not actually sure there's a good reason for it. Maybe there is no maximum and it's always just based on how much money you're spending to put each adventurer in that group. I'm not sure. We'll have to figure out the balance for that too. Lots of math formulas. All right, chambers or dungeons, proper world map. Yeah, I think we incorporated that. Auto attack to characters. This is still an idea that could be done at any point, but with a party system, I just don't think it's super important. Yeah. Yeah, all your characters merge into one, gain every final ability. Means the fights are bonkers. I mean, this could still happen, but there's no need for it anymore. Yeah, I can't avoid math. You're right. So challenge runs, I still think are a good idea. I don't know what they would look like, but I think they're still a good idea. So challenge runs, maybe something like you only have warriors or characters permanently die, or something like that. I don't know. We'd have to come up with what they are. Should you be able to name characters you create? I feel like the answer is just no to this. I think it's fine. The ability ideas, these are all still pretty good ideas because the battle system is the same. So I guess we copy paste all this. Symbol places skill points, cosmetics for characters. Yeah, I think I'll just copy paste this all here. Okay. All right, are we done with all of this? Did we get all the feedback? Battle windows were locked. That should be done now. Slowly putting points into things like walking and taunt. That shouldn't be a problem now. Lock camera checkbox. I don't think that should be a problem either. Would disabling ability in some special instances make sense? Yeah, I think that could be part of those like crazy debuffs that happen. Healing, or each character can only use their first ability. Yeah. Hit detection too specific. Skill point should be regen speed. Yep. Autosave would be useful. Yeah, I think an autosave system is a good idea to have for this. So I'll just write autosave system. Camera should be centered to a character. Yep. If you don't mind, one review. Kind of hard to know when it needs to be done. Should be a guide. Maybe this is where a story could help. Yep. Need to make it clear how health regenerates. Being able to hold down, right click to move a character. I don't think this should be an issue anymore. Yeah. Display a health bar on the overworld. Yeah, that should be done by a health bar in instances for all characters. Oh, it would be kind of interesting to have like a, well, never mind, I'm not going to write this down. I was going to say a boss that starts at 1% life, and the longer it takes you to get through the dungeon, it just keeps healing up to the point where if it took you a really long time, then they're at 100% life. But that's the kind of system that punishes you twice. Like if it took you a really long time, presumably you're going to die to the boss, and if the boss has more life, then you're more likely to die to it. But maybe your party's just very good at sustaining itself. Add a visual effect when the life of your hero is very low to give more emotion to the player. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good idea. Just flash them red or something. When hovering, find the details of the attack to be unnecessary to the first read. Yeah, I think that you shouldn't even need to hover over these anymore. Or we'll just have different UI for that. I think it's fine. Moving the cursor. Oh, this was a web export problem. Hopefully that's not an issue in the final game, so I'm not going to write that down. At least an indication of the characters in battle would be nice. Yeah, again, shouldn't be an issue here. This is just a tooltip issue. Pressing escape to close the skill tree. Yeah, cool. All right, I think everything from this document is now part of this document. And I think I need to finalize all this stuff. Oh yeah, take care, Darkstorm. I will probably, do you have access to this? No, not this one. I made a document called Simula Fantasy, this one. I think I gave you access to this too. Yeah, the share button doesn't just have a lock on it. Anyway, this is where I'll probably put everything. Okay, yeah, you definitely have access. Cool. All right, yeah, take care. Have a good night. So yeah, what I think is going to happen on the next stream, which will be on Wednesday, is we are going to finish. We're going to do some mock-ups for this. Yeah, and answer some of these other questions. Interesting. All right, so what do I need to do then? I need to share all of these conclusions with Quickie Joe. I think Darkstorm knows what they are. But share game design conclusions with Quickie Joe. And then, yeah, Wednesday will be for mock-ups. Do mock-ups of the UI, selling, etc. Fill in any last blanks in the design. And maybe on Friday we could actually start coding. I know I wrote it for the week after, but I think we're in pretty good shape. Yeah. Hey, bald bearded builder, excuse me. Just racing through your name. And hi, everybody. I had been working on a prototype that I think some of you might have come in a little while ago with BBB. And it's playable. Where is this thing? There it is. Yeah. So I made this prototype that's playable here. And this was made very hastily. You pick a character, you start in the game, you walk around, you find enemies to fight, you pick the abilities you want to use. Anyway, you might have seen this before. So this was launched. We got feedback about the game. And from the responses here, people said it was mostly fun. Like agree was at the 60% category and strongly agree was at 11%. So about 70% of the people thought it was fun. And some people, didn't find it fun or didn't really care too much. And that was for the prototype, which we did as fast as possible. So the plan was to pivot to making the final game. And I think we pretty much finished the game design. So now we need to figure out the other aspects of the game and things like UI. So I'll give you a short overview of what this has changed to. It is going to be called Skeleseller. You are an adventurer and you start and it's your dream to be an adventurer, and you go into the forest and you're fighting some fights and you get into a battle with a snake and it poisons you and you're taking 1 HP of damage, 1 HP, 1 HP, 1 HP, and you go to the nearby town for an antidote, but they don't sell antidotes, and so you die. You turn into a skeleton and you say, that's it, this is never happening to another adventure again, so I'm going to start up a shop. And you find like an abandoned town or a plot of land or something, and you put up a shop. but you don't have a way of getting items anymore because you're dead. So another adventurer comes in and you hire them and they go get items for you. So that's where this automated battling comes in. And then you sell them in your town. So battles give you items. You sell these items for money. Money lets you upgrade everything that you could possibly have. And I think it's a pretty good foundation for a game. Got quite a lot of stuff that we talked through over here. This document is 33 pages and the original document was 43, and then there was a scratch section of another like 30 pages. So I've written probably about 100 pages of stuff about this game. And I mean, we've also written probably hundreds of lines of code for the game to work. So I'm excited. I feel pretty strongly that I think this will do well, at least from people having fun, that kind of perspective. I don't know about how many sales it would have, but yeah, going pretty well. Unfortunately, Bald Bearded Builder always seems to catch me right at the end of my own streams. And I am a little tired from the amount of time I've just spent talking about design today. It's been like a little over 6 hours. So this has been great. I hope you're all interested in seeing how this develops, because I am. We're going to do some UI mockups on Wednesday. And then on Friday, maybe start development. I should probably also share that timeline out, huh? Maybe also share the timeline. Yeah. Oh, man, but it's been an intense day. So, yeah. Thank you all who've been here. I know chat's been pretty quiet. I think once we get to development, it'll be back to normal with all this stuff. Let me see who's streaming to find someone to raid. I linked in my YouTube channel, and I'll be producing a video hopefully tomorrow, or releasing it the next day. Well, thanks for watching. Frogs, Rain, Bows, and Soft Serve. I like the name. I'm gonna raid Lana because she's been raiding me a bunch. She's also a great streamer, and I think she was just doing Ludum Dare. I really have not been watching much Twitch, and so I only vaguely know that Ludum Dare was happening, and yeah, I didn't even know the theme until today. But yeah, I hope you all had a good time. I'll see you again on Wednesday. Remember, there is no stream tomorrow. So yeah, take care and see you later.